What's up, freak bitches, wherever you may be, however you may be watching? Thank you for giving us just a little bit of your time, albeit about 40 minutes later than what I anticipated, because, tech stuff never goes the way I absolutely want it to. But, since you're all here, I want to introduce you to my co-host tonight, the first one being the Dowager Countess herself, Lady Cora. How are you tonight, ma'am?
I'm good, thanks. Life's good.
Yeah, life's a lot better when technology works the way it's supposed to work. That's all I'm saying.
I'm so sorry, your computer. I kick your computer's ass, but then I'd probably break it. So.
I've already got plans for a new one, but the reality is it's going to be like $2,000, and I'm not sure exactly when that's all going to work out. But once I finally get around to that, it's all going to. A lot of these problems are not going to be an issue. But joining us, as always, is my hetero life mate, Jeremy Wolner. What's going on, my man?
Not much. Do you want to plan a day to office space your old computer? Because I'll totally be there to help you with that.
Jennifer's nephew has already. We actually sat down a week or so ago and gamed out the whole thing. So the plan is made. It's just a matter of me dumping $2,200 on it, which I don't know if it'll cost me entirely that much at the end of the day, but that's still kind of the working plan we have right now. But
I would recommend ordering the person later. After the Suez Canal stuff, prices on everything's going to go up. Just a thought.
Well, prices go up on everything anyway because, the world's expensive anymore. But, we're here talking guilty pleasure movies, and let's be honest, we all have one. We all have that one movie that you don't really understand why you like it. You just do. It's a movie that most people hate. And that really is the definition of guilty pleasure movie. Guilty pleasures are not things that everybody likes. There are things that the majority of people don't like, but they are things that you enjoy for reasons entirely your own. You never have to explain them to anybody. At least I don't explain it to anybody. So that's what these pleasure movies are. These movies that were not widely liked by critics, not widely liked by fans. Maybe some of them have become kind of cult movies over time. But generally speaking, they were not exactly, they're not Oscar-worthy fare, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And we've all got some. And you're going to get 5 from each of us tonight, our guilty pleasure movies. And we're going to start with Lady Cora. What is your first guilty pleasure movie?
Be Kind, Rewind. It came out in 2008. And on Drew's show, remember we were talking about Blockbuster? This one I bought used at Blockbuster in DVD form.
Ironically.
Right.
It was written and directed by Michael Gondry, who also wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He's kind of a weirdo, looks like, from some of the stuff he does. But I like this movie. It's a random quirky plot with an alternate history of jazz tied in, yet it's a really good funny movie. It has classic Jack Black comedy, physical, and the one-liners. Danny Glover, Mia Farrow, and are some of my favorite supporting characters. But Mos Def is the opposite of Jack Black as the leads. And it's just this fantastic story of Mos Def and his uncle, played by Danny Glover, who have a little video rental store in this Harlem, little tiny neighborhood that's trying to be gentrified by these developers. And so Danny Glover's character says, well, maybe if I upgrade to DVDs and not VHSs, I'll get more business. So I won't be forced to sell my portion of the building. So he says, I'm going on a vacation, but doesn't tell anybody what he's doing. And basically what he does is he goes around to the big city or somewhere nearby and sneaks it and just goes into Blockbusters and other video stores and examines what movies are really popular and this whole idea of switching to DVDs. So while he's gone, Moss Blaze is left in charge of the shop. And the one rule he gave his uncle was, what's his character's name? Jerry. Jack Black plays this guy named Jerry. He goes, don't let Jerry in the store no matter what you do. Well, I don't know what happened. I forget the moment, but he lets Jerry in the store. And he doesn't really fathom what goes wrong. Well, Jerry lives a block away inside a trailer, inside a fenced area where there's transformers for power lines. He's electrified. And so he comes in and he demagnetizes all the VHS tapes. Mm-hmm. And so it's this journey of, the whole neighborhood coming together, trying to help. And you get a really great friendship angle of people who didn't like each other at first, who worked together in Moss Blaze and Jack Black. And Danny Glover and Mia Farrow are friends in the neighborhood. This is one of those few movies that there's no love story whatsoever. It's just all about the people. and the younger people and the older people in the neighborhood working together about facing, losing their block to some developers. And it's just fucking hilarious. And then the alternate thing about jazz history, it's because they're claiming that, that one of these famous, I forget, Fats Waller, was a jazz musician, and he was from that neighborhood. And so they're trying to maybe make it a historical thing. Anyways, the point is great comedy, heartwarming, and it's just one of those that just makes it, it's I don't know, I just really like it. It's just a random little bit of everything good movie. So there you go. There's Be Kind, Rewind.
Jeremy, have you ever seen this movie? I know I saw it once a long time ago, but that was a long time ago. What do you think, Jeremy?
No, yeah, I actually own this movie on DVD as well, ironically enough. I think this is another store that, rest in peace. They used to hang out a lot near my town was the Kmart, 2-3 blocks. So, I think it's one of those ones I just saw. I did this a lot. I would just see a movie and I was just like, that looks interesting. I'm going to buy it because it looks funny. I read the back and I'm like, that sounds absolutely ridiculous. Years ago. I think I was still in high school, maybe.
Yeah, 2008.
I thought it was fun because watching Jack Black. Oh yeah, I just started high school then. Sorry, that just got punched everybody. But watching Jack Black fucking try to remake Ghostbusters and shit like that was just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts. All the funny movies they make to make a and the whole thing is really just, I don't know. I love it. Frank, do you like it?
I am not a big Jack Black fan.
Okay.
I'm one of the few. I know everybody loves Jack Black. I personally think he's kind of hit or miss. Anymore. Well, I think he's hit or miss. It's he was great in Orange County. It's kind of Tom Hanks' son. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? But playing his younger brother, I thought he was good in that. He was. I like School of Rock. I think that's a really funny movie. But a lot of the stuff that he's done is just, it doesn't get me the way it gets other people. So I'm not a huge Jack Black fan. Mos Def I've liked in almost everything I've seen him in. He actually shows a surprising amount of range. I mean, I've seen him in everything from this and The Italian Job and the band, or not the band played on. What was the one he did with Alan Rickman several years ago where they were both doctors? I forget what it was. I don't remember. But that was a really good movie. So he has a lot of range. I really like him. I thought this movie was funny. It was a little goofy. Which is fine by me. I don't mind the occasional goofy movie. But I don't know. Maybe it didn't hit me the way that it hits some other people. I thought it was an amusing film, not one that I felt the need to rush back to. I think I saw it once in came out, and I think I stumbled across it about 5 or 6 years ago and watched it because somebody else I knew was watching it, and then I don't think I've seen it since. But I do think that it's kind of funny that as we look at physical media now, DVDs which were so revolutionary are now kind of pretty much they're worthless because everybody's digitally streaming everything. You digitally download movies, you buy it on Amazon or Google Play. Yeah, at
that time though, DVDs were starting to get huge. It was like, oh crap, this is a big deal.
Yeah, but I actually bought my first DVD.
Makes it kind of funny.
I actually bought my first DVD today for the first time in a long time.
Which one did you buy? What was it?
It was an old one from the 80s. I'll go into it a little bit because it's one of the ones that I'm going to talk about when we do our sports movies.
Nice.
But I just happened to be at Books and Company,
Rudy.
walking. No, it wasn't Rudy. I don't really like Rudy. but
okay, I don't know. It's a guess.
Yeah, it was just one from years ago that I used to watch all the time, ironically on VHS when I was a kid. And I stumbled across it in the dollar bin at Books and Company. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and grab it. But I thought this. Like I said, I'm not a huge Jack Black fan. There are sometimes I think
I'm not either. To be fair.
Fuck both of you.
I think sometimes he brings movies down. It's sometimes he's
Nacho Libre. I could never watch that again. That was just.
But that's the kind of movie that he excels in, though, because it's so ridiculous that he doesn't kind of overrun the plot of the movie or the point. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But but you see, but that's just what.
But this one, I really thought Moss Blaze almost outshone Jack Black, but they worked together on it, and I just happen to love it. But I hear you. It's either you like him or you don't, kind of thing.
But yeah,
I always say the same thing about about Will Ferrell. I'm always like, everyone loves him. I'm like, no, he's hit or miss too for me.
I have a Will Ferrell movie on my list. I was actually going to say that when it came up.
Well, I'll fucking bash the shit out of Will Ferrell, and I'll be like, oh, fuck you, he's hit or miss. Sometimes he's annoying and just actually annoying, or sometimes it's actually kind of stupid funny, or it's just
Anchorman.
Anchorman is fucking phenomenal. That's just me and Frank.
Jeremy and I quote Anchorman in our daily conversations.
I love Anchorman. I love it.
That's a little different.
That is Be Kind Rewind.
Is funny.
Yeah, that's Be Kind Rewind. Go check that out it's probably on a streaming platform somewhere, or in the $2.99 bin at the Walmart. I don't know, something like that. But Jeremy, what's your first movie? Go ahead and give us yours.
Yeah, I realized I didn't mind like a descending order, so this will be fun. First one is Paul Blart and Mall Cop. I don't know what it is about this movie. I love Kevin James. I really do. So it's just like, he plays that kind of character, like on King of Queens. It's like he's the big lovable guy. Like he's kind of goofy sometimes, And of course he plays a mall cop, I guess is what you can call him, or security guard, as the official vocab guidelines state. Even though that's a different movie. You caught it. I actually used that line 2 days ago in a conversation. But yeah, so he comes. I mean, he's kind of everybody's favorite, mall cop. He's the only one that takes his job seriously, maybe a little too seriously. And all of his fellow colleagues kind of tell him, like, why do you care so much, Because then the irony is that when the mall gets taken over by all these, I guess they're, I don't know what they were, like the people taking over the mall, but of course the guy that he ends up training in the movie is the one who's obviously behind it all, because, plot twist. And they're just there to like steal ATM codes to take a bunch of money out and go take a trip. Classic heist move. And him being the only one left in the mall, the only one left there to defend it, because, he's the one that takes his job, seriously. Well, and he's got that love connection, the little blonde girl who was on Glee. I don't remember her fucking name. I mean, I'd stay behind for her, too. I mean, have you seen her?
Which blonde girl are you talking about?
The one that gave him the wig. The girl at the kiosk. I don't remember her fucking name. I just know she was in that show. I don't fucking know her name. But yeah, no, so he kind of the underdog here that ends up saving the day. And I don't know why I just like that movie so much. It's one of those ones I would watch like over and over and over. I think it's somewhere. Yeah, no, I think I put it in my Eddie Murphy movies just kind of as a one-off, because I think I had that on here. It was Daddy Daycare, because it's the same thing. I don't know why there was a time where I would just constantly watch like the same one or two movies, and that was also one of them. So I don't know. It's just fun. I still sit there and I jam out with him when he's fucking playing Detroit Rock City and shit like that.
Corey, you've seen Paul Blart Mall Cop, haven't you?
Once when it was on cable and I was half watching. What I saw of it, it looked kind of cheesy. But like I said, I do like. I don't know. It was all right. It wasn't bad. I'd probably watch it again. Yeah. I do remember him riding the little scooter thing like a fucking expert. Like, can you imagine during filming, like doing Segway training, like how fun that would fucking be? Like getting paid to like learn how to like drive a Segway like a champ.
See, we make fun of him, but that shit looked like it was fun.
Yeah, it did. It did.
I have never ever ridden a Segway in my entire life.
Hey man.
Never been in a position where I thought riding a Segway would be a positive thing on whatever situation I was in at the time. So if you guys are Segway, if you guys are Segway people, then by all means be Segway people. But that's not my jam. You know what I mean? But I saw this movie once, and I honestly don't remember much of it. I think I saw it once when it first dropped on physical media, like on the video stores or something. Or maybe it was even one of the streaming services, I forget. But it was kind of forgettable for me. But then again, Kevin James kind of plays the same role over and over again. He's that.
Yeah.
He always
does it well though.
I like King of Queens. I thought that was a good show. But
Oh,
it's like every other movie, he plays a frumpy loser.
In Hitch, he started, but then he like polished up as part of the plot. So you kind of see the range of where he can go.
Yeah,
I did like that.
He does play that underdog kind of guy. Like I said, he's always kind of that guy.
Yeah, he always plays the frumpy loser, and I'm like, you can
you always root for him.
You only play that about 4 or 5 times before I'm like, what else you got? What else you got in your bag of tricks, kid? But I mean, I'm glad that he's branched out into some other things. Actually, I watched the Netflix show with him that he's in now. I forget what the hell it's called.
The car racing one. I watched the first so I was hanging out with a friend on Discord, and he's like, "Well, I was thinking about watching this. You want to check it out?" He watched the whole season. I watched the first episode.
Yeah,
it was. I didn't like it enough to watch the rest of it, but I will say this: it was pretty good.
Yeah, I watched the whole season. It was entertaining the way that kind of basic sitcoms used to be entertaining. Now they're reaching for something else, and I'm like, I don't really want you to reach for anything else. I just want you to be a good sitcom. That's all I need you to.
And the race car angle behind the scenes is something you've never really seen on a show. So that was what I was looking for. And he had his nice comedic moments in it. So yeah, he's a really good one to watch usually.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Paul Blart, I don't know, I feel like I should sit and give this another watch. Too. I feel like I should sit and give this another watch at some point. I never did see the second one.
They did a sequel?
No, they did. I didn't actually watch the sequel because, again, I'm kind of that weird purist where because John did that to me. I was like, oh, that was cool. I'm never watching that again. So I strictly watched the first movie of Jaws. I watched the first movie of Texas Chainsaw, of Halloween, of fucking...
Oh, the second Jaws movies are worth watching.
The second one, it's 3, 4, 5, 76, whatever.
Like Land Before Time movies in the 80s. There's like fucking 8 of them.
Yeah, no. Like, I didn't watch the second one because I felt like maybe the one works as a one-off by itself. It ties nice and neat at the end. And I'm like, I don't really need to have... it didn't look great. Like, this one, it's like, you don't expect... Like I said, this is not an Oscar movie, Paul Blart. But, like, the second one just seemed like it was like, no. So I didn't see it.
Does he become a real cop in the second one?
I don't know. Again, I don't...
I think in the second one he goes to Vegas or something like that.
Yeah, it's something weird.
Or something, I don't know. Just whatever they needed to do to push it on to a sequel so they could try to make
it. It seems like it's like a cross between Beverly Hills Cop and Die Hard, but for
with Kevin James.
No, it's not nearly as good as either one of those movies.
Okay.
Well, okay, to be fucking fair.
To be a cross between those two, it would have to be at least as good as one of them, and it's not even close to either one of those movies.
Kevin James, I know, not out here trying to push, dude off of Yakatomi Plaza. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He's not trying to be Bruce Willis out here.
Yeah, no doubt. But that is Paul Blart Mall Cop. Again, I feel like I should just go revisit this. Like I said,
I would say give it another chance.
I've been into.
I watched it again recently.
Yeah, I've been into some more Kevin James because of that Netflix series he had. I actually blew through that in like 2 days, I think. I thought it was a fun series, so maybe I'll go back and give it another go. I don't know. That's Paul Blart Mall Cop. Go check that out. Now, I think a couple of mine might shock you guys. A couple of them won't. I think there's one of them I think might shock you guys. I'll save that for later on. But there's I am going to go back to I'm going to go kind of into the Wayback Machine a little bit for a couple of them. But I'll start with one of these, mostly because I shit on this director every chance I get. Not because I think he's a bad director.
Shyamalan.
It's just no. It's just because his shit is hit or miss, to me anyway. He's had way more misses than hits, in my opinion. But he is one of those directors who is widely beloved by so many people because of the dark nature, the dark tone that he brings to so many of his films. Now, a lot of people don't realize this was Tim Burton's feature film directing debut. And it was the all-time classic Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Okay, I have to tell you, as a kid, I loved watching Pee-wee's TV show. There's my confession. I loved watching that as a kid.
Actually, my daughter had a period where she was watching a lot of Netflix, and I was like, please God, can we watch something else for just like an hour? Can we watch anything else? Like, I watch Powerpuff Girls. I don't really care. Just anything other than
what?
It was driving me nuts. Just anything. And I honestly,
I reached through this
I would have watched.
Honestly,
I would have watched Gem and the Holograms for an hour just to stop watching Pee-wee's Playhouse for a little while. Because I was so
the chair
burned
is
on
creepy. You sit in it and it has a face. It's like, I don't want to sit on you.
It's like, sit on my face. Sit on my face.
I feel a tongue creeping up my thigh. We're done.
Look, honestly, this again. It's so outrageous and outlandish. It's
like the Ernest movies.
Like if you go back and watch it now, you're just like,
right.
why do I think this movie is so entertaining? Why I should hate every bit about this movie, but I can't because there's always something that draws you in. And then on top of that, it's like you have some actors and actresses in it that, I mean, some of them were just popular in the 80s, but I mean, then you get like James Brolin towards the end, not Farrah Fawcett, who am I thinking of? Morgan Fairchild or Morgan? Oh shit, yeah, Morgan Fairchild towards the end, and then a bunch of people that I mean, they didn't have huge careers, but they were like in stuff. I mean, the guy that steals his bike in the beginning, that frumpy guy who was really hateable. It's like that guy was huge in the 80s and for a lot of things. He was in like the first Teen Wolf movie and other things like that. And it's this movie is so ridiculous that you can't turn your head from it. You know what I mean? It's
I do.
Okay, so for one, you got the bike, which is supposed to be decked out like some crazy shit from the Triple X movie with oil slicks that can spray out from the end of it and special super bright lights.
Yeah, James Bond bike.
Yeah, he's got like this bike that's got more bells and whistles than a Swiss Army watch. But somehow he couldn't keep somebody from stealing it with this 9,000 foot long chain. It's like that whole gag about pulling the chain out of the little side pocket thing on the bike. That alone, I was just like, really? Are you kidding me right now? And then it does kind of have this whole traveling the country while you're experiencing all this crazy shit kind of quality to it. He goes to the Alamo in Texas. He goes to all this other shit. He ends up finding his bike on a movie set in Los Angeles at one of the Paramount lot. I'm just like, and then at the end of the day, the people who are on the Paramount lot, they're like, hey, we should totally make a movie about Pee-wee's crazy life. And they turn into this James Bond thing towards the end with James Brolin and Morgan Fairchild. So I'm like, it's so ridiculous. But I mean, it's a cute movie. It's like, I can sit and watch this with my kids, and one of the things that's nice about it is you can watch it as an adult and get some of the innuendo that kind of flies right over the kid's head. So it does entertain kind of everybody at every level. Look, maybe it's because it's one of those movies from my childhood. It's one of those things that I watched in my preteen years, and I thought it was fun. And it's just one of those things that has kind of held up to me, so maybe it's part nostalgia. I can't sit here and tell you that this movie is a good movie. Because
but it's beloved by you.
I would probably be stretching the truth. It has developed a bit of a cult following over the years, not the kind of cult following that movies like Rocky Horror Picture Show has kind of developed and things like that. But I mean, it got enough of a following to where they actually made not a sequel, but they made a new Pee-wee movie for Netflix. It was called Pee-wee's something other. I don't know.
Now, you didn't want to watch the TV show with your daughter. Did you show her this movie?
I have tried to watch this movie with my kids, and they just don't. They don't want it. Like my daughter likes the goofiness of the Pee-wee's Playhouse, but this being a little bit more adult, a little more open world. I mean, it's just, some of it's just kind of shoots past her, so she's not really into it. And my two boys, they just don't care. They're teenagers. They're boys. They want to do their own thing now, so they don't want to like anything that Dad likes because it seems cool. But. Yeah, I could still sit and watch this movie and be perfectly content for an hour and a half or however long it is. And one of the things that's really cool is the girl that plays Simone in this, the waitress in the diner, is actually the same girl that played, because Paul Rubens actually played Cobblepot, the Penguin's father in the second Batman movie, the last one that Tim Burton made.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns. Paul Rubens actually played Penguin's father, and the lady that played Simone, the waitress in the diner, actually played his wife. And they've actually gone back and forth working on projects together a lot over the years. So it is kind of this weird fraternity.
And that was also Tim Burton. And
that was also a Tim Burton film. So there's this kind of weird fraternity of creative people who kind of do these different projects together. So I've always thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, if you guys just waste time and just watch something stupid for an hour and a half, why not watch this? It's so outlandish. It's like you roll your eyes while you're laughing. You know what I mean? You're just like, this is so stupid, ha ha ha, and you don't know why you keep watching, but you do. And at the end of the day, you're kind of entertained. And it's got like Elvira, the Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark. She's actually in this as the biker girl, and it's just a really kooky movie. It's a really kooky movie that's entertaining when it shouldn't be, and I've always found a lot of joy in watching it. So there's my first one is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So we'll circle back around to you now, Cora. What's your next one you want to talk about?
The next one I'm going to talk about is called Jupiter Ascending. It came out in 2015. Nice. A lot of people might say this is a really great, fantastic movie, but it didn't get enough of interest for them to even think about doing a sequel. And that was sad to me, and it made me think that maybe it wasn't as popular. People didn't like something about it. Anyways, like I said, it came out in 2015. It was written and directed by the Wachowskis, the Matrix folks.
Wachowski?
Yeah.
Am I saying it wrong?
The Wachowskis?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
The Wachowskis.
I think you tried to say Mike Wazowski almost.
They're the Wachowski siblings.
There we go. That's on Internet Movie Database. They just call themselves the Wachowskis. There's no word. Anyway, epic visuals, costuming, and really good pacing of the plot. And it's just a perfect combination of sci-fi meets action movie with a dramatic plot in it. It's a two-liner here on Internet Movie Database. A young woman discovers her destiny as an heiress of intergalactic nobility and must fight to protect the inhabitants of Earth from an alien and destructive industry. So this is like the concept of Earth is just sitting quietly, not knowing that they're part of this bigger world. And she finds out she is a reborn version of some woman who owns Earth. And so she's being sought after, and her DNA gets plugged in because she's trying to give her eggs away for money at a fertility clinic. And so bad guys come to try to get her, and good guys come to try to save her. She goes off world and goes on this amazing adventure. Fucking fantastic shit. Loved it. Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis play the leads. They have really good chemistry and a believable love story angle that has a nice little, let's date at the end of the movie. So no stupid, we're getting married. So really like that. Sean Bean, Eddie Redmayne, Maria Doyle Kennedy are excellent supporting casts. I mean, fantastic roles there. It's kind of like a coming of age / identity movie for Mila Kunis's character, as well as a really great sci-fi story. And I rewatch this movie just to see the visuals sometimes. It's just fucking fantastic. There are some hilarious moments, and it seems quirky at certain times. There's a part of the movie where after she leaves Earth and she has to, quote, claim her inheritance of sorts. She has to go through this 20-step process, like going to DMV kind of shit. But it's hilarious because we have to go do this first. Well, then you have to go do this first. And I swear they had way too much fun with that, and it was fantastic. I wish there was a book behind it. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this has to be based on a book series. I want to know the backstory. I want to know the deep version of these characters. No book. And that was a huge letdown as a reader myself, who sometimes watches a movie and gets inspired to go back and read the book. And I was really hoping for a sequel, but I don't think we're going to get one. Mila Kunis's best role for me in anything I've seen her in. Channing Tatum's a good co-lead, but I wouldn't say it's his best role. But great movie. Hope you guys have seen it. If not, it's really worth a look if you like anything sci-fi.
Jeremy, what do you think of this movie?
I don't know, because I've never seen it. Sounds like some Doctor Who type shit. I was like, okay.
A little bit. There's no time travel per se, but
damn. Wibbly wobbly.
But some really cool teleportation stuff and ways of communicating and stuff. So kind of, maybe it's because I'm a Star Trek person, there's a lot of interest in this for me.
Yeah, I generally don't listen too much to critics because I think they're full of shit. I think they go into every movie wanting to see the next great Oscar film, the next great Citizen Kane, the next great Wizard of Oz, whatever.
Well, they're there to nitpick. That is their job.
However, when literally every critic destroys a movie, I'm kind of like, do I really want to? It's like I still to this day have not seen Cats because
don't do that. That's different. That's not a critic's thing. That's just you have to be on some sort of fucking drug to maybe understand it. You'll be like, Huh?
Well, I'm not saying that Jupiter Ascending got critic reviews that were anything like the stuff that this Cats movie that came out last year got.
But it was not really well received or given much credit for how good it was, in my view.
The number of people who were just shitting directly on this movie, I was like, I'll get to it when I get to it, and I never got to it.
Well, if you're ever chilling and you want something that's visually interesting that you don't want to have to pay a lot of attention to, it's worth watching just for that.
And here's the thing: for one, I like the Wachowskis. What disappoints me about them is outside of the Matrix, they have just flopped. The Matrix and V for Vendetta, they have flopped hard.
Yeah.
Like nothing they've put out has done well.
Disappointing.
It is disappointing, and it's a bummer because they did this
upset.
movie several years ago with Taylor Kish. I really wanted that movie to be awesome, and it was just not good. It had entertaining spots, but it just was not good.
That broke my heart because I loved that show as a kid.
And the last Matrix movie was not good. I mean, the ending wasn't terrible. The film itself was not.
Yeah, I hear you. It's like we go through all this for 3 movies to find out. Oh, it's gonna start over again.
And
you did all this for nothing.
Yeah, and some of
they tell you that in the beginning. That's not the first version of the Matrix. It's like you already know. Oh, that's
I know, but
before.
you get the sense that this is like the one version that I don't know.
It's the one that probably was the best version they'd had.
For some reason, the Wachowskis just have not been able to. Their batting average just isn't good right now, and I know, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're running back to the Matrix franchise and trying to restart that up. Is they're like, wait a minute, we did this Matrix thing, we did V for Vendetta is one of my favorite movies. I don't think that I have something personal against the Wachowskis. I love that movie. I mean, you guys see the mask.
It's in the background, isn't it?
But there's a reason why I keep that around because all the stuff that I have isn't just decoration. It's all stuff that I like. It's movies that I like. But
I mean, I like Steether.
Especially the alcohol. Especially the bar behind me, but yeah, just would you get outside of the Matrix and V for Vendetta? It's like they're like 1 for 20. They just are not doing very well at all. And Jupiter Ascending was kind of one of those things. Like I said, I like the deep sci-fi stuff like a Blade Runner and things like that are like really deep philosophical stuff as well as just being sci-fi.
But this is sci-fi fluff. Let's be honest, it's sci-fi fluff.
Yeah, but it got smashed so hard. And honestly, Channing Tatum, look, he's good looking. That's what he's got going for him.
He's a pretty boy.
He is. That's why one of my favorite X-Men characters has always been Gambit. I've never thought that Gambit's gotten the love that he deserved from the movie universe.
I feel that.
And when they said they would cast him to play Gambit, I immediately went, "Oh, really?" I was like,
right.
It's like, I can't. I was like, oh, come on. Anybody else? There's nobody that wants to do this role. Nobody wants to be in a comic book movie, really. I was like, I just wasn't feeling that at all. And I think that's one of the reasons why that movie never really came around was because I think in general, it's like a lot of women who are like, 15 years old or 52 years old were just like, oh my God, that hot guy from Magic Mike. But real like fans were like, that guy doesn't really. He's not how I'm seeing the character. So maybe that was part of it. And, Mia Kunis, I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't think she's bad at I don't think she's a bad actress or anything. I mean, she's done some stuff that I'm not particularly fond of, but I don't think it was, I wasn't not fond of those things because of her. It's just because the stories I didn't think were all that great. But I've liked her in a lot of other things she's done. I love her as Megan. Family Guy, of course, was one of my favorite shows. That 70s show I watched a lot of. And I've seen her in a lot of different things. A lot of rom-coms and stuff like that.
She's really great in those commercials recently, too, for whiskey. She really rocked those commercials. I like that.
Yeah, but it's just, for some reason, it's like the story. I know somebody who saw the movie and just said it was all over the place. They just said it was so convoluted and kind of not. It wasn't really they didn't solidify any of this before they were like, okay, go ahead and put this movie and send it out. And
as you're watching, it's that way. But for me, like I said, there's something about it that I love. Can't explain it. I don't think it's a great movie on the scale of things, but I fucking love it.
That's the joy of the guilty pleasure movies, though. It's like they all suck, but they hit you in a certain way. It's like I said, I'm pretty sure there's one on my list that you guys are going to be like, are you fucking kidding me right now? But it's like, but for some,
Beyond Pee-wee? Come on.
Beyond Pee-wee. But there is a nostalgic, I mean, a couple of them, like Jeremy will probably get like one or two of them, he'll understand. But it's like, there's one of them, it is more of a nostalgic than anything else. It's not a great movie, but it's for some reason, when it comes on, it's fun. But, that's Jupiter Ascending. Go check that out. I think Jupiter Ascending is on HBO Max, as I recall. I think I saw it on one of the streaming services recently.
Like I said, if nothing else, leave it on the background when you're doing housework just to see the visuals because it's fucking amazing. The visuals.
Yeah.
But.
So anybody go check out Jupiter Ascending. Let me know if it's worth watching. But Jeremy, what's your next guilty pleasure movie?
See, I haven't got to the bottom of my list. I'm like, see, because I feel like this whole show is going to basically come down to like 2 words: fight me. So like this movie. Anyway, well, I was gonna say we kind of went a little further when we were talking about Cats. I'm like, well, that's a good segue into mine because my next one's actually a musical because we all know how everybody loves musicals and Broadway shows that are made into movies. My next one's Rent. And maybe this is just a nostalgic thing for me in a weird way. Ow. Kick the chair. In a weird way for me because, like, it came out, what, like 2005 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
I think 2005. Like, I was probably, what, just going into middle school or something? I didn't see it initially.
Like, recordings of the Broadway shows before this?
No, I hadn't. Again, 2005. I was still, like I said,
okay.
Either coming out of like elementary school, going into fucking middle school.
This is one of the most popular Broadway plays ever,
right?
And so I mean, a lot of people knew about it well before the movie.
Yeah. Now, see, I didn't, and I don't know why. It just seems like sometimes people just don't like this movie. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I like it. Like I said, I didn't see it until later, and it was a weird thing that, like, me and my group of friends that were in high school, we were kind of like the alone by ourselves together kind of people. Like, we had each other, but like we were just not really in any sort of particular group, I guess. We were if I had known about the Loser Club,
the Misfit Toy Island kids.
Yeah, pretty much. But it was like we just kind of liked that, like, Bohemia type fucking style movie, and we always had this weird thing that was like, yeah, we're all kind of like each one of these characters in a weird way, and it's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we all moved out to New York and got this dope ass like penthouse rundown apartment or some shit. Oh,
so a guy's version of the Golden Girls. Which one are you?
Yeah, I guess. I think at first I was fucking Benny. I was like the rich guy that no one liked. I'm like, I don't know how that works. Maybe I got by default. Everyone else got picked. Bullshit. And then I think they gave me like Roger, like the kind of main dude. Yeah, that's that's just the whole year in the life of these friends, just trying to, I guess, get by. And I know that not paying their rent. I guess that's the irony. They said it that we're not going to pay rent. I don't know. I will sing along like every time, just the same as I had done like the first time I watched this movie. I don't know what it is. It's catchy. I often go back and I'll just listen to the soundtrack itself. So
is it the music that drew you in then, or the story?
It's a little of both. Like I love it's like a rock musical, and I like the rock music in it. You know, it's not like a musical where everyone's just like fucking Phantom of the Opera. But no, I love Phantom of the Opera. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like that. You know what I mean? It's a little more kind of gritty and in your face. That's what I like about it. And there's some deep shit. Like it's in from like 89 to 90. And it's like at the height of the fucking AIDS epidemic, and it hits so close to home.
Portrayal of real life on the streets of New York City.
Yeah, it's like they're all living in poverty in this place, and like they said, like the rich guy is the one who's like, "Hey, I'm going to develop this this block that you have to make a recording studio," and they're all kind of like, it's like you betrayed the club, like you got money, how dare you? You know, he's like, "Remember when you used to live here, man?" And you know, I get that he's trying to do something better for them because like they all want that. Like one guy's he wants to make movies, and and like I said, Roger wants to make songs, and he's kind of, his point is like, you guys need to have a place to do that and facilities to do so. So I'm kind of like, he's not wrong. I don't know.
But he's a villain for changing things, though.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know.
Well, he's not really a villain for changing things. They feel like he's sold out to the man or to the system.
Mm-hmm.
And really what he wants to do is he wants to bring a more modern life to that area, but I don't think, I hate saying like it's a negative. They kind of just don't, it seems like the people in the movie aren't down with the change. They still
so like it is a case of gentrification then?
No, I wouldn't go that deep with it. It's just like they kind of want things to stay kind of seedy and kind of gritty New Yorkish, and he wants to clean it up a little bit, but still make it be. But he wants to modernize the gritty New Yorkness of the neighborhood. It's one of those weird things. Like they're both kind of right in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, they want to make their own special things, but I guess, like you said, he is kind of selling out. And it's like once you do that, they're kind of like, yeah, well, what's the point anymore? It's not like you're really making the movies you want to see, or you're like writing the songs you want to write, you know. Okay. And like I said, there is some deep shit in this movie, like, you know, the fucking. I mean, I know Frank's gonna agree with me here. You can't go wrong with Rosario Dawson. So.
Oh yeah.
playing the stripper. I mean, come on. You already know what song I'm. That's a good fucking song.
I've never seen the movie. Was it received well, or was it kind of shit on?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, you finally made a movie of it. I think the only person who wasn't from the show, right, was probably Rosario Dawson. Mimi was someone.
No, she wasn't from the Broadway show.
Yeah, like I'm saying, she wasn't. But like
the guy that she hooks up with in the movie was from the Broadway show.
Yeah, Roger was. I think Mark was too.
I think maybe guy. Mark was.
Yeah.
I think the rest of them were all cast for the movie, as I recall.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know, like I said, some of them are from the show, which is nice. It tickled me. I think I saw School of Rock a little sooner, like more when it came out, like 2003-ish. I didn't fucking realize the guy that was in Jack Black's band was that dude from that movie, and I'm like, oh my god, he's playing the same. Oh god, it's Roger. Holy shit. I didn't realize. I'm like, it's the mullet. It looks a little different or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I was like, no, Corey. It gets into some deep shit. Like I said, it's during like the AIDS epidemic, and like it hits a little close for one of them. Actually, I think 4.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. Yeah, 4. Half the main characters all have HIV or AIDS. And that was one of the cool things about the movie is it not only did it have like that musical bent to it, and I am kind of a sucker for musicals, it's kind of based in the, I want to say like late 80s in New York. The movie takes place
it's like 89.
Yeah, the movie takes place over the course of about a year. I mean, it starts out on, I think, is it Christmas Eve or December New Year's Eve of 1 year? Yeah,
it's like Christmas.
Yeah, it's between Christmas and New Year's Eve of 1 year, and the movie takes place over a calendar year, so it ends kind of about the same time, and it just kind of follows the journey of these people as they're dealing with not just this kind of they're like the starving artist. They're dealing with that. They're dealing with, like I said, a couple of them are having, they have HIV or AIDS. Then there's this, are they trying to sell out? And then there's like this little relationship drama going on between the two girls. It's just, there is a little bit of a love triangle thing in there a bit, which I thought they could have done without, but whatever. I mean, it blends into the movie, so I don't think too much about it.
It's a little better in the show. Like I have eventually seen it on stage, and it is a little more fleshed out. I get it's a movie, you gotta do so much with it. Why is that dog barking? Goddamn.
Because dogs bark.
But
that's what they do.
I know. I apologize for that.
Yeah, I honestly. Yeah, I
think it works.
I didn't think much of it when it first came out, but over the years, it really grew on me, and now it's one of my favorite musicals. I mean, for one, you can't deny. Yeah, you can't deny any of the talent in this movie, though. I mean, this movie is just stacked with some serious some serious entertainers. And then to top it off, it's like even some of the people in the peripheral, some of the background actors are actually really good in it too. And then to top it off, I mean, there is a bit of this nostalgic feel to it because it does take place in the late 80s, which is a place I would really love to go to again, even if it is just for 5 minutes.
Hello.
It's like everybody's got a dog with me on the show anymore. I swear to God.
Right. Hello.
But yeah, it is a fantastic movie, and it's one that if you like musicals, this has got to be up towards the top of your top 5. I mean, there's just so much talent, and a lot of these people have gone on to do some big things. The girl on the far left of the poster, I forget her name. She's actually got a regular role in the 911 now. The girl standing next to her girlfriend in the movie, she's been on Glee. She's been on a couple other things.
One of them kind of sang that little number called "Let It Go" in that one little tiny Disney movie called Frozen.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Tyrese has been a star for a while. Rosario Dawson's been a star for a while. The black guy, Jesse L. God, what the hell's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his last name.
Martin?
Yeah, Jesse L. Martin. He's got. Yeah. Uh-oh, he's pissed. Get him.
Right.
But he's
you're a couple pounds. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but Jesse L. Martin is on the Flash. He's on the Flash TV series.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of talent in this.
It's no small movie. I mean, it's good.
Yeah, there's plenty of talent in this thing. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen this movie, if you're a fan of musicals, go check it out. It's a great deal of fun, and it does really, especially towards the end. The most fascinating character in this entire film to me is Angel. It's Angel.
It will get me. I will tear up every time, just a little bit.
That entire character arc, I think, is just amazing to watch.
That's what gut punches you. I can't.
And honestly, and the relationship between Angel and Jesse L. Martin's character is actually one of my favorite. Is my favorite relationship in the entire movie. I didn't get lucky enough to see it on Broadway. I would like to have seen it on Broadway. I had notions in my head as they were wrapping up the Broadway run. I was like, I wonder if I could just bounce out to New York for a weekend and go catch a
It will be back.
I'm sure it probably will
producing
be.
it.
It's not going away.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably will be at some point. And I do eventually plan on making a trip to New York. Jennifer and I had our trip last year, get a little screwed by the pandemic, but we will eventually make it out to New York. And there's probably a Broadway musical in our future when we're there. But yeah, I just, again, no shortage of just great talent. And when you get great talent, again, I like musicals. I'll admit it. You can call me all the names you want.
So you almost sound a little ashamed to say that. Yeah, it fits in with the show.
Hey, you wouldn't think that a guy like me likes musicals and Elton John, but I do. So, say whatever you want about me.
Wait. You mean Sir Elton John?
Elton John.
I've seen him live 3 times.
Phenomenal.
He's amazing.
You can't tell me that man isn't amazing, for one thing.
Yeah, but this is a fantastic movie, and even if you're not really into musicals, just get into the characters. I mean, if you're somebody who's into really deep character, just what they are.
It does get deep, man.
Oh yeah, it does, absolutely. But so if you haven't seen this yet, Cora, you should actually watch this. We might do a retro movie review on this one. Ooh. I think that'd be a fun one. That'd be a fun one. But
God, how do I just not sit? Oh man, if I'm gonna sit there and start singing the fucking opening number,
I think most people would. But real quick, before I get too far off, I want to see if my donation screen is going to play this time, because it's been a little squiffy on me lately. We do have that is not my regular donation screen. There it is. We do have a new subscriber. Somebody who subscribed yesterday, or 2 days ago, as a matter of fact. And she is somebody who we found on Drew's show over on Derailed. I don't know why it's taking so long to play this thing, but anyway, it's CK Lefty. She's a gamer. You can go check her out on YouTube. I don't have her.
I watched her last night.
I watched her for a while too.
She still has the thing about the raid on her thing, and she's like, she's really humble and she's fun to watch gaming.
She is. We were going back and forth in the chat for a little bit last night. We were talking about some gamer stuff. I don't know why it's not playing.
One day I'll get there.
One day.
My friend already gets money off of Twitch, and I'm like, yeah, you were streaming what for a month?
Well, like you said, when people get a lot of help, it's easier to do.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not playing.
I was like, that's a bullshit. I've been streaming for probably longer than that, and I got nothing to show for it.
Well, you'll be the.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
Understood.
No, I'm really not. It's just kind of like, well, I was right. I told kind of like, well, I don't know why you were so worried about it. And I was like, it's not gonna be hard for you, man. It's. I don't care.
What's up, Nightwatch?
She's not all about it like that, though. So.
What's going on, Nightwatch? Hey. I'm glad that our streams didn't cross over too much. All those technical issues I was having for the first half hour. I guess the nice thing is you get to pop in for most of ours. But, my next movie, there's a remake coming of this, supposedly, and I'm really eager.
Oh, boy.
Because I really, really like this first movie, despite the fact that it's just hot fucking garbage. And that's The Masters of the Universe that came out with Dolph Lundgren back in the 80s.
I have to look this up.
Seriously, no. I can't not watch this movie if it comes on. I do not have this on DVD or anything. I have to find it though. This has got a very young Courtney Cox. I mean, this was right around the Dancing in the Dark video this Bruce Springsteen video she was in. It was right around there. This young Courtney Cox is pre-Friends, all that other bullshit.
Poor Friends.
Yeah,
Scream.
Look, now I was a big He-Man fan growing up. That was one of the Saturday morning cartoons.
I met He-Man.
He-Man's a cartoon character. You mean someone dressed as He-Man?
Well, tell that to 6-year-old Cora, who got to go to Knott's Berry Farm.
Okay, so you
and get to meet and hug him and She-Ra. It was like this. Oh. I'll find the picture for you guys next time I'm in Oregon. Awesome. And I was just like, and here I am with each of them on the side of me, like putting their hand on my shoulder. And they even have like the set up with the door for the lair for the bad guy. Oh, fucking one of the best memories of my childhood.
Castle Grayskull, awesome. Man. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah. The power of Grayskull.
This movie, I look back on it now and I'm like, God, this movie is so 80s, terrible, cliche. It's poor. It's just crap. And I'm like, I still love this movie and I want to watch it whenever it comes on. I can't help it. Now, this, honestly, Dolph Lundgren was not speaking very good English at the time because this was only... I think this was within a year of him playing Ivan Drago in Rocky IV. I think within a year of that movie coming out, he did this. I want to say it was just after. Maybe just before, I'm not 100% sure. But I swear to God, this movie is just so wildly... Again, it's just so bad that it's good. They actually had to dub over some of his lines because he was still kind of learning English at the time. So they had to dub over some of his lines with another actor because his English was so bad. But Frank Langella is the one who plays Skeletor. And no bullshit. It's very odd to hear an actor of this guy's stature look back on one of the shittiest movies of his career and say, I'm really glad I did that movie. But he did. Frank Langella has said this is one of his favorite movies he's ever done. Hey. And he actually decided to do it because his sons at the time, who were, I guess, on the young side, I don't know how young they were, but I guess they were on the young side, were big fans of He-Man. And they were like, dude, Dad, you totally have to do this movie. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And he said he had a wonderful time doing it. He said he loved the kind of comparisons from this Masters of the Universe story to some of this, like the Shakespearean stuff that he had read growing up as a kid. Mm-hmm. He said there was a lot of great similarities between these characters and those characters, and he really got into it. And he really liked making this film. So when Frank Langella plays in a terrible movie and says, hey, this movie's actually still really cool, you should listen to Frank Langella and go watch this movie.
Right.
And this is definitely one of the ones that has been on my list for a long time now, of ones that I want to revisit and do a retro movie review on. Because, again, they've actually cast someone to play Prince Adam in a movie, in a remake of this, whatever the hell it's going to be. They haven't really done it much in the last year or so. I don't know if necessarily because of the pandemic pushing a lot of filming schedules back, or because they maybe are just thinking to themselves, why would we make such a crappy, terrible movie from the mid-'80s? It could
because you're remaking a crappy one from the fucking mid-'90s called Mortal Kombat, because you can make it better. Hey. That's why. You deserve it.
Yeah, but whatever.
You want to see He-Man in fucking today's goddamn
they should have The Rock. If they're doing it, they should have The Rock play He-Man. That's what I would pick.
Nah, I don't want The Rock in everything. He's already doing Black Adam. Let somebody else do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, does he really need to be in everything though?
Yeah.
As much as
no, but he's got that comedic. You know, like watching him in Jumanji, I've really learned to appreciate his comedic side. He will be hella funny to me.
I mean, he is a funny dude. I mean, yeah, that's what that wrestling background shit comes from. Yeah.
We've already seen him in a role. We've already seen him in a role like this, though. We saw him as a Scorpion King. He'd essentially just be playing that again.
Well, who else
did we see him though? Did you see that CG?
But who would be? Who would you cast?
Awful.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, the guy that they cast to play Prince Adam, which is the kind of alter ego of He-Man, he is not a large person at all. He's actually quite scrawny. So that made me wonder when they cast him. I was like, is it going to be like a big transformation thing, like Bruce Banner to the Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like some Captain America shit.
Or are they going to bulk this guy the fuck up?
I was thinking the same thing.
Or give this man a super serum.
Or are they going to bulk somebody? Or are they going to bulk him the fuck up and be like, "Good luck, you know, you're only 5'7", but we're going to put a lot of muscle on you and pretend like you're a really big, strong guy."
I can shoot at camera angles.
I guess just shoot a real low angle so he looks really tall. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what this potential remake is going to look like. But yeah, I still get a lot of joy to watch this movie. Again, it's corny, it's 80s cliche, it's full of tropes, and they reworked
Conan the Barbarian type shit.
Yeah,
they could do it SJW style and have the chick from Game of Thrones who was really tall play He-Man.
Well, they're going to do a She-Ra movie.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Making a woman He-Man.
But they're going to do a She-Ra movie. movie. And She-Ra is He-Man's cousin, so why?
Okay, she could play. She could play that then.
So why go through all that when you're going to make a She-Ra movie She-Ra movie anyway? At least that was the plan.
Fair
last
enough.
I read. Again, it's been a while since I've heard any word about the potential remake. I don't really know why it's kind of slow rolled. It maybe, I'm sure, probably in part because everything got pushed back in the last year, and maybe also in part because they're still not entirely sure how they're going to do it and not make it look utterly ridiculous like this movie. But still, this movie is just fun to watch. Again, turn your brain off, stuff your face full of popcorn, and enjoy Masters of the Universe. There's worse things to do with 6 hours of your time, and you get to see a young, absolutely 80s gorgeous Cox. If you're a Courtney Cox fan, you definitely want to go check this movie out. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna play the fifth. I don't want to talk about it. Why have I watched Friends like 4 times through? I don't know.
Hey, like I said, a young 80s hot Courtney Cox. All you need to know.
She's still hot. You can find me. She's still hot.
She was on Friends, wasn't she?
Yes, she was Monica.
She was absolutely Monica on Friends, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Cora, what's the next movie you want to talk about?
Okay, the next movie I'm going to talk about is Working Girl from 1988. It was directed by Mike Nichols, written by Kevin Wood. Melanie Griffith, Harrison Ford, and Sigourney Weaver are the leads, but supporting roles, Alec Baldwin, Joan Cusack, Kevin Spacey, Philip Bosco. I mean, some really great people. This is
I know all those names.
This movie is a classic portrayal of the 80s life from both sides of the tracks, meaning the average everyday people working hard, working class, and then the upper crust folks. Melanie Griffith plays a woman who's doing night school, trying to better her life on the New Jersey side of New York City. And she ends up getting a job in a big firm and working under Sigourney Weaver, who was, born in, a blue blood and went to fancy schools and is actually younger than her, but is her boss. And Harrison Ford is the third part of the love triangle there, where they all meet at work. Fantastic movie. I love the costuming. I always wanted as a little girl the dress she wore that was black with little diamonds all over it. There's even this funny little moment in there where Harrison Ford's character, Jack, is explaining why he has this scar on his lip, or chin, excuse me, the one that Harrison Ford kind of is known for in all his movies. He does have, yeah. Yeah, and he makes a crack that his girlfriend knocked him over and he hit his chin on the toilet or something. I don't know. It was funny to me as a Harrison Ford fan that he made fun of himself. And it's just the love story is sweet, but it's more about the little guy wins, and it's a feel-good movie that you grow to love. And it's one of the earliest movies that I recall getting a portrayal of what New York was and is. And so maybe that's part of it. And the soundtrack, Carly Simon is just the tipping point, and she's fantastic. One of my favorites of all time, but I think a lot of people don't really think much of it. It never really hit big, I don't think. And there have been several movies in the last 10, 20 years that almost seem like they're an homage to Working Girl, like a remake of sorts, but a modernized version. The best one I can think of is that Gwyneth Paltrow movie where she's a stewardess. But anyways, the point is, it seems like a jumping off board, and it's inspired other stories and movies. Love it. One of my favorites. I watch it over and over again. I see it at least 2 times a year, to be honest. And that's why it's one of my guilty pleasures. Jeremy,
I don't know. This movie might be a little bit before you. That's my guess.
No, you think? I have seen a lot of things that have been before my time, though, in all fairness.
Yeah, but I mean, anything before your time is going to be hard to catch up on. Because I've spent most of the last 20 years going back to stuff that's way before I was born and trying to catch up on some of these classic things.
Me too.
And I haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah, I was raised by my grandparents. That does help.
MASH, man. Watching, yes. I've seen every MASH episode. That theme song in your head. In
That's
Dallas,
fucking show.
Who Shot JR? In high school, that was my cliques soap opera. It was a CMT cable channel was playing them like 5 days a week. and we would all watch it at home and be on the phone on a party line to call, talking about the show, this stupid show from the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
I did that for my mom once for her birthday. I actually got her. I bought her the entire fucking set of MASH because she wanted to watch it. Because she's like the only reason I missed. I think she said the last season is because she was actually getting married to my dad. She was like, oh well, that's the only reason I fucking missed it. It was like the last season. Well, you know what? I'll do you a favor here.
So I'm a sucker for stuff that really moves me. That reminds me, maybe as part of why, Frank, like you were saying, you were drawn to the Pee Wee movie. I don't know. There's something significant about, even if they're made later, movies that are set in the time frame where you grew up. And this in the 80s, and I remember going as a kid around this time, 7 years old, going to my mom's office, playing with her phone at her desk and sitting in the chairs, and all the sets in this movie remind me of my mom's office when I was a kid. So maybe there's sentimentality tying in here, but and I love Melanie Griffith. She's great in a lot of stuff. And I have to say Harrison Ford, you know.
I mean, can you not? Yeah.
So it's just a fantastic movie. Love it all. And if you're in the mood for an 80s movie that has a fun, a rivalry of two strong women and kind of movie, it's great.
Yeah, you have me at Harrison Ford and Sigourney Weaver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Melanie Griffith's not bad either. But yeah, tell me those two, and you've got me. I remember seeing this movie years ago, and I remember absolutely nothing about it.
Now, I was shocked. This was the first movie I ever saw where I saw a woman topless in a movie, because Melanie Griffith is topless when she's vacuuming and getting in and out of a dress, and I was like, oh, but as a kid,
I still do that. Are you kidding me? I do that every fucking time.
You vacuum topless?
Oh my gosh!
You should see.
TMI.
You should see me cook bacon topless.
That's where those scars came from. Okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah, right there. That's that one.
Yeah.
And say Harrison Ford's got the chin. Jason Momoa's got the little fucking forehead. I got it right there, like Tony Montana. Right there.
I got bacon grease burns all over my nipples, baby.
You see that bitch? It was sunny side up. That was over easy.
Yeah, I feel like I should go back and check this one out. Like I said, I remember seeing it years and years and years ago when it was a much newer film. Probably not a new release, but years and years ago. And I just don't remember anything about it. And maybe it's something I need to go back and look at again. Like I said, I've been trying really hard to go back and look at a lot of different things from the past instead of just doing the recent stuff. Again, there's so many things, especially so many good things that are very highly regarded even today that have aged very well. It's just really hard to catch up on all of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'll definitely look into that one probably at some point soon. Jeremy, what's your next guilty pleasure movie? Give me something that's going to shock me. Come on, something that'll blow my mind.
Well, like I said, now we're starting to move down the list a little bit, starting to get into this isn't a bad movie, but we're starting to get there to where people start looking at me like, what the fuck, seriously? Well, I guess speaking of blowing your mind. My next one was actually Romeo and Juliet, the one with Leonardo
and Claire Danes.
Yes.
Nice.
I don't really need to explain Romeo and Juliet to anybody, I guess. So therefore, I took fucking 3 out of 4 goddamn years of high school. I had to do Shakespeare. We did a different story for 3 out of the 4 years. This was like freshman year. We did Romeo and Juliet. Then it was like Macbeth, which actually was my favorite one. I don't know why Macbeth was my favorite story. Sophomore year, and we did Hamlet senior year. But this started. I don't like. We of course watched there's been movies made of that story. They made one of the correct time period piece of it, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I know what happens. They both die. That's so sad. Fucking knew each other for like 2 days. Jesus, I think they move slower in the Sims game, if you know what I'm talking about. I think they move slower in that game, for fuck's sake. Already married within the hour. But I don't know why, for some reason, this, now it's set in a modern, for what movie came out, the mid, 96 or something.
Yeah, it was mid-90s.
Yeah, like right before he did Titanic. So of course he's pretty boy, as Leonardo DiCaprio does.
When this came out, that's right. Yeah.
So, and like it's set in like that modern era, and it's like you replace the fucking horses with like cars, and all the swords with guns, and I'm like, this is fucking cool. And I'm like, it's still the story, and it's still the same Shakespearean dialogue. That's what's interesting. Maybe it's just because it's a weird. Like, imagine if this actually existed and this was how things were. Like, it's still in a modern time, but they're still speaking that way. Because, like, as the teacher explains, she's like, well, why wouldn't they still speak like that in the movie? That'd be kind of a slap in Shakespeare's face. And you don't want to do that. I'm like, I don't want to piss Shakespeare off. I don't know.
Did you know Paul Rudd was in this? I didn't.
Yeah, he was Prince Paris, I think is his name.
And John Leguizamo. Anything with him and it's good.
Hell yeah. And also, I guess, going back to the Wachowskis, fucking the guy that played Mercutio was the guy that played Link in like the second and third movie, the guy that played the operator for their ship. So like it was weird. Yeah, I saw that and then I saw The Matrix and I'm like, damn, dude, whoa. You're like the flamboyant, questionably gay best friend in this, and then like yeah, well, I don't know, he may have been, because he did rock that outfit like at the fucking party. And then in The Matrix, he was like more serious and kind of. I was just like, "Wow, damn! All right, props, dude." I don't know. There's just something really bizarre. What's the like? It's weird. I don't know.
Tantalizing. It just draws you in.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's like if I was gonna watch something Shakespeare, I'm like, fuck yeah, I want like fast cars on the beach and fucking guns instead of swords. But it's still Shakespeare, and it's still cool how that fucking works. And yeah, she blows her brain out the fucking end. So people seem to hate Claire Danes for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe that's why. We're just like, yeah, kill yourself, Chris. I hope Claire Danes isn't watching. I don't mean that. I'm just saying it's
all good.
I hope Claire Danes is watching, because I have never ever hidden the fact that she is one of my biggest celebrity crushes. I was madly in love with her in high school. I mean, My So-Called Life. Did you guys ever get a chance to watch that show with her in it?
Can we do a review of that sometime, Frank? I fucking love My So-Called Life.
It only lasted like what, 2 seasons?
I know. Shorter. ABC like cut it short.
That show was so far ahead of its time. They did not, that and Freaks and Geeks. They did not have any clue what the kind of gold they had going on. They have no clue how good that show is. There's a reason why people are still wanting like revivals of those shows. They were just so damn good.
Indeed.
But yeah, I to this day I still have just a terrible crush on Claire Danes. I think she's gorgeous. Dude, I actually kind of like this movie. I think I've seen it a couple of times. It was an interesting way of taking this very, very old story from like, the 1400s.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah. and it's because you have to walk a really fine line when you're giving really old stories a modern twist, because they don't always come out right. Because they did the same thing with Othello. That's what this the one movie with you know what I'm talking about. What the hell's the name of the damn movie?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. The blonde girl from Save the Last Dance or whatever it is. And a bunch of
Julia Stiles?
Yeah, Julia Stiles. She was in it. I forget the name of the movie, but it was basically a retelling of Shakespeare's Othello.
Oh, 10 Things I Hate About You. One of my favorites.
No, it wasn't that. No, it wasn't that.
Oh.
God,
well, when you think about it, fucking...
it was called O. It was just called O.
That was it. Oh. That was it.
Yeah.
It was a modern day telling of the of Othello.
And by the way, there was a school shooting like within a month of when it was supposed to be released, and they moved the release date because they didn't want to have it tied into the school violence shit.
Yeah, I understand.
They waited to release it almost for a year, I think.
Yeah, I understand that. But
well, if you think about it, fucking The Lion King is Hamlet.
Yeah.
Lions.
Yeah.
It's it's that same story.
But this movie, I thought it walked that line very, very well. Between modernizing this old story and still having it be not silly. And again, maybe,
I mean, it is silly when you see him throw the gun on the ground and it says like dagger 9mm. You're like,
I thought it said sword.
That shit's funny.
Didn't one of the guns say sword? It was like engraved.
Yeah, like the long sword was the shotgun that he had. Yeah, like it's funny.
Yeah, it was like I said, though, it was such a weird take on this entire story, but it worked.
It's so bizarre. I love it.
You know, the funny
they even
thing,
had some really good older actors to play the parents, Paul Sorvino and Brian Dennehy.
Yeah.
I mean, those are classic.
Yeah, can't go wrong
actors.
with those two. Can't go wrong with those two at all. But you know, really is the song that was made for this movie. You guys know the song I'm talking about. I forget the name of it. It was by I'm trying to blank on the name. But you know,
I'll
Jeremy,
look it up.
But Jeremy, did you and I have seen Hot Fuzz probably more times than either one of us can possibly count. They do that.
That's underneath Anchorman for us, I think.
There's that part of the movie where they do the play of
Garbage?
Romeo and Juliet.
Everclear.
No, it wasn't Garbage or Everclear.
No, it's because they sit.
Angel, Gavin Friday.
It was
the version that they do in fucking Hot Fuzz is
the Cardigans.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it was the name of the group, the Cardigans.
Oh, Loveful.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
But but you know, a funny thing is they had actually tried to get the rights to use another song in that place, and they couldn't get it. So when they did the Romeo and Juliet play in Hot Fuzz, they made the ending a musical, and in the musical they sang this really terrible song from this movie, Romeo and Juliet.
That's hilarious.
That's
because
what they do, like with the
It's
gun.
a fun tie-in.
They still do it with the gun at the end too, and he's got the wings on and the same like knight's outfit that Leo had. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. I appreciate that.
It was really funny.
I see you.
It was really funny. But I would suggest people to go watch this. It's like I said, it's a really interesting kind of modernization of this crazy old story. Because
and here's the thing:
people do Shakespeare. It's like in film anyway. It's kind of a straight up adaptation. You make it a period piece. This actually lends itself really well to a more modern telling, I thought.
It would be a good toe in the water of checking out Shakespeare, like the general concept of what Shakespeare is before you dive into like the original stuff, which might be harder for people to follow. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like that's the way they made it kind of fun in school. That's why I still remember these stories. It's because we would all the books were kind of nice. It had like the story, and then on the other side they got the cliff notes because Shakespeare's a fucking madman when it comes to writing. So it's like he said this, but this is what it means, and I'm like, oh, that fucking helps. And we'd always it would play out who's in the scene, and I don't know. I think it was when we were doing, was it Hamlet? I had the same teacher for all 3 of those years, which is actually kind of wild. So I don't remember which, because it was still her that did this to me. She would always, it was either Macbeth or Hamlet. She always picked me for the fucking lead as Hamlet or Macbeth, and I'm like, why do you keep doing that? She's like, I don't know. I just like the way you do it. Like we'd all stand up and we'd actually we'd be reading, but we'd actually be trying to act it out too, as we were playing. It was just kind of fun. And then once we were done, we'd watch an old movie of it. And that's the thing is they actually have modern. This led me into this whole. They have modern adaptations of Macbeth and Hamlet as well. And I was like, what the fuck? Whoa! I gotta watch these. Again, replace the swords with guns, and they got modern era shit. It was wild.
Absolutely. But yeah, definitely go check out Romeo and Juliet. A very good movie that I think you guys might get a kick out of. And it was kind of it was borderline musical too at one point. Not necessarily music as lyrics like in Rent, but music actually played. Right. The soundtrack played a really big part in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not fond of 90s music, and there was only probably 1 or 2 songs probably on that soundtrack that stick out that I actually like still, but because that one song, Love Fool, I don't like it. It's just not good. It's just not good.
That was one of my favorites in high school, for reference.
It was not good.
To each their own.
To each their own. Exactly.
That's what this whole fucking show's about.
Exactly. That's the whole point. I mean, hey, go watch these movies and tell us how stupid we are for liking them. That's the whole point. Because the point is you're going to watch the movies and you're going to figure out for yourself if you like them or not. But
you might like them too. You don't know.
My next installment on this is actually one that I think a lot of people like, but it got shit on a lot because it deviated big time from the source material from the book. But luckily, this is another one of those films that is in works for a reimagining or a remake or a whatever you want to call it, and they say they want to stay more true to the source material, and that's Starship Troopers. Come on, how could you really not? How could you not be entertained by this movie? Look, I get it. Space bugs, they're gigantic. I get it. The first movie is actually wildly entertaining. All the sequels that came after that were terrible. They're just not watchable.
That's fair.
You can't watch this movie and not be wildly entertained at just how goofy it all is. Now, there's a couple different facets to this movie. One is there is this kind of weird political bent to it that if you're watching very closely, you kind of it's interesting to watch how it all plays out. It's this militaristic kind of this weird thing. It's like you don't have the right to vote or anything unless you become a citizen, which means you have to serve.
It's a dystopic
in the military. It is
story.
It is a very weird. It is very weird. It also does take place in this time where, in not so far future, I think is how it was portrayed, though not explicitly said, that borders don't really mean what they do now. It's like, because like all these kids are basically just like regular high school kids down in Rio de Janeiro. So it is kind of this weird, like, everybody has kind of finally figured out how to coexist kind of thing at one point. But then it's like, but if you want to have the right to vote or the right to do some of these other things that we all kind of take for granted here in the United States, you have to become a citizen and join this military. And there's really a lot of weird themes in this movie. That are very kind of underlying, but at the same time, it's like they're all kind of mixed in with this giant alien bug story that is the stuff of like B-rate sci-fi shit from like the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and it was wildly entertaining. Matter of fact,
I still love that shit.
This was supposed to be like the big breakout role for Casper Van Dien. This was like the movie that a lot of people thought was going to blow him up. He was going to be the next
Richards in it, because I'd never seen it, so I saw like 5 minutes of it on cable once, but I had no idea it had Denise Richards in it. Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris is in it. This was when he was between, because he had been done with Doogie Howser for several years when this movie came out, and his career was kind of in this weird like little middle area where he was getting like cameo stuff. But this was way before How I Met Your Mother. So he was kind of in this real like in between thing. And again,
I'm gonna watch this.
For as much
as
Neil
Patrick Harris.
As much as this movie gets shit on, it's like people will still sit and watch it and say, maybe the sequel. I have not yet read the book that this is all based on. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've never gotten around to it because I want to see how much it deviates from the source material, and I want to see if the book is any good. But
Internet Movie Database has had 271,000 people rated, and our average is 7.2 out of 10. So they must have done something right.
I think it's become a bit of a cult movie for like.
It may have gotten a cult. Yeah.
Yeah, because when this movie first came out, it did not do very well. It got terrible reviews. It wasn't in the theaters for maybe like 3 or 4 weeks, as I recall, when it first came out. It just was not. It did not leave a big footprint. But over the years, it's like people keep going back to it. They're like, wait a minute. There's, like I said, some of the political themes still resonate. Especially as things in the world happen the way they happen, some of the political themes kind of start to stick to your guts a little bit, and then you have, and then again, there's some star power. Any sci-fi fan knows Michael Ironside, but just by looking at his face, Michael Ironside's a fucking beast. He has been some of my absolute favorite shit that I've ever seen. So it's got Michael Ironside. There's weird little visuals and images that kind of like happen throughout the course of the movie. They're really kind of staggering. They kind of give you pause to kind of really think about what this world is like. But yeah.
So is this kind of like out there like Tremors is, or it's like actually a better plot? Like it's.
Well, the plot, like I said, it's giant space bug. Okay, for one, it's a little bit ridiculous. This is one of the things I think that actually hurt.
Right.
These for some reason, these giant space bugs that live in some other galaxy are throwing meteors at the Earth. I don't know why. It never explains why. It's just that there are these giant bug-like creatures that live on some planet, a galaxy or so away, and they keep shitting meteors and throwing them at the Earth. And when I say shitting meteors, I literally mean like there are bugs you will see later on in the movie that they like bend over, they put their ass in the air, and they shit out meteors that go up into the sky and blow up. Seriously, you have to watch it. They're not brown meteors. They look like fireballs or something, but the visual of it is not a good one.
That's some explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, so I get it. And there is some of the shit in this movie that I'm kind of like, really? You couldn't have come up with a better concept for that. But again, I don't know how close this is to the source material as far as the visuals go. I know that it deviated a lot from the book because they didn't really think they could fit all those aspects into a 2-hour-long movie. And this was way before anybody wanted to get gutsy and make a 3-hour-long movie. There wasn't a whole lot of those out there at the time. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know. The second movie was terrible. It was just not good. The third movie, they actually brought Casper Van Dien back. It didn't help. I mean, but it was kind of the same thing. It's like every movie was just like this new evolution of this giant beetle that they had to fight or something like that. It was really, really. It didn't really.
It's the next boss level.
Yeah, the story didn't evolve well. But this movie it's wildly entertaining. You got this whole the whole co-ed shower thing when you're in the military, like all these guys and girls just showering together. I can never wrap my head around. So there's like this one scene where everybody's just naked in the fucking shower, and it's like, okay, I don't know why that's in there, but yeah, I mean there's nothing sexual about it necessarily. It's just that they've supposedly kind of evolved in this place where you can have a co-ed shower in the military, and I'm like, I don't get it, but okay, whatever. But bottom line is you get to see a bunch of topless women walking around for like 2 minutes in the shower. So I guess that was the draw of that scene. I don't know. Yeah. You could have cut that from the movie and it wouldn't have made a difference at all. But so there is a little bit of a love triangle thing that again I think the movie can live without it. But it's there. It's part of the movie. So enjoy it for what it is. But yeah, it is really that shticky sci-fi stuff from 40, 50 years ago that made sci-fi itself great. And then sci-fi went through this really dark period, then it kind of came out of that when Star Wars came out, and then from the late 70s on, Star Wars or the sci-fi has been a huge market to try to make a movie a part of. But yeah, it does kind of go back to that old era of sci-fi where it's just this crazy situation and humanity has to fight for its life and blah blah blah. But visually it's a really crazy movie. Like I said, the giant bugs, I mean the boss at the end is apparently a giant slug. I don't know, you'd have to watch the movie and figure it out. Neil Patrick Harris mind melds it. It's all really, really crazy. You'll have to go watch this movie because Neil Patrick Harris is not in the movie a whole lot, but his role is kind of significant.
Okay.
But it's a really insane movie. And like I said, real sci-fi fans, this is one of those movies that has kind of, like I said, it sticks to your ribs a little bit, and it's one that you like to watch, even though you know it's not very good. I'm eager to see what this remake of this, if it ever happens. They've been talking about this for probably 8 or 9 years now, if not more. Mm-hmm. But it'd be interesting to see what they do if they decide to try to remake this. I'm kind of curious.
Oh, cool. We bought a projector to go in the backyard for summer nights so we can get out of the house more now that we have a puppy who's going to want to run around all the time. I'm going to put this as the first movie we'll watch on the projector on the big screen outside. God. I think it'd be a perfect summer yard movie.
It is a good movie to watch on the big screen, too.
No? You disagree?
I'm just saying, oh no, that's the one you're going to pick first.
Well, why not? It sounds like a great summer movie to watch.
Yeah.
So you can be outside and wonder if bugs are going to get you.
Every mosquito you slap, you wonder if it's shit out of meat and throw it on the planet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Jeremy,
I've seen it.
It's like I said, it's not a waste of time. You leave this movie feeling fairly satisfied, despite the fact that it's a bit on the ridiculous side. So, I mean, go check this movie out.
Well, so do you when you watch The Princess Bride. I mean, but that's fantastic,
That's a hilarious movie.
It is a funny movie. First one more than the second one. But, yeah. Once you bring Chris Pine in, I'm like, I kind of like Anne Hathaway just carrying the movie, but that's just me.
Nice.
But, let's see. Jeremy did Romeo and Juliet. Jeremy, what's your... we're not on Jeremy right now. We're on Cora. Cora, what's your favorite... What's your... you want to talk about?
Talladega Nights, and I don't think I have to say too much about this because so many people have seen it, love it or hate it. I love Will Ferrell movies 90% of the time, so for me this is big. And also I love when he and John C. Reilly get together, Step Brothers. Nod.
True.
This had Sacha Baron Cohen, Amy Adams, Andy Richter, Gary Cole. Fucking fantastic cast. Jane Lynch. I forget the guy who played the grandpa. So his father-in-law in the movie. It came out in 2006. Adam McKay directed, but Will Ferrell joined him in writing it. There's also a whole bunch of SNL people who had little cameos in it. Endless awesome comedy with some cool weirdness if you like Will Ferrell comedy. It's always a go-to for me on a sick day when I'm home. And there's never-ending quotes that are like gold, shake and bake, and
You're not first, you're last. That's it.
Yeah, yes, I mean, it's just
hell,
one
Bobby,
of those.
I was drunk when I said that.
Yeah, so I just really enjoy this one. It's also really colorful and bright. So on a gloomy day, is kind of nice because they're outside a lot for the track. So, something to be said for visually pleasing. And the kids are hilarious. And when Jane Lynch, takes on, trying to raise them and teach them how to be proper people instead of little fucking monsters. I love that whole sequence. And I forget, Gary Cole playing his dad, putting, the cat in the car and it's just I like the funny romance story. I like the comedy side. I like the family angle and just all around fantastic. And when they made Step Brothers later, I was so happy to see them paired together again. I hope they come together for a third or fourth movie down the line too. So
I'm sure they probably will.
Yeah.
I think, didn't we say that when we wanted to do best maybe not necessarily comedy duos, but like movie duos, like people that do movies together a lot. I was like, yeah, fucking that'd be one of them for me. Is like Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. They're fucking great together.
And then the guys who do the Shaun of the Dead movies and
so that was my top one because I fucking love Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Do not take that one from me. I love them.
Oh, fucking fantastic fantastic shit.
So bad, Denny. You ever take a shortcut before?
So there you go. That's what I got to say about Talladega Nights.
Jeremy, what do you have to say about this movie?
See, I don't know. Like this, I don't hate the movie. I saw it probably when it came out, like 2006. It's one of those weird that I remember, like seeing it with like a specific person I was with at the time. It was just a weird. I don't think that's why I don't like it as much as like other movies. Maybe it just didn't stick to me as well because, like I said, Will Ferrell was hit or miss for me, and I kind of felt like, I don't know, is this bordering on just being kind of dumb, or is it like, it's like I said, there are things that are funny. Like I won't lie, yeah, shake and bake and fucking if you're not first, you're last.
And Sacha Baron Cohen's like the French character he made with all the weird antics in the bar and his traditions at the racetrack. You're like, what are the fuck is he doing?
Like the
Ricky Bobby and saying
right.
Ricky Booby instead of Ricky Bobby.
Right. Would you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
On the lips, I will.
I mean, I do say that. I do say like, don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I do say shit like that. I do say that from time to time. And like I said, like the 70 different versions of the fucking like prayer he tried to say at the fucking family dinner or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe I was just like, okay, dragging it out a little bit. It was funny, but now I'm kind of like, okay, get to the point, man. I get it. How many times are you going to talk about sweet baby just barely born Jesus? I'm like, okay, I get it.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus in the manger.
Sweet baby Jesus.
This was not my favorite. This was not my favorite Will Ferrell movie for a long time. But again, it kind of grew on me over time. Maybe it's because I'm not a huge like racing fan, so maybe that part doesn't get to me. But it's like the more and more I watch it, the more and more I saw some of the eccentricities of this movie. Some of the subtler comedy about it all. Maybe that kind of stood out to me a little more as I watched it more and more. So over the years, yeah, I've learned to laugh at this movie a lot.
Maybe I need to see it again. Maybe that's why.
I think it's like I said, the one-liners, the shake and bake and the stuff. But it's like when he's filling the commercials. That was one of the scenes I thought was funny. When he's doing all the commercials, if you don't chew big red, fuck you.
I forgot about that. That was one of my favorites. If you don't chew big red, then fuck you.
I use Summer's Eve feminine douche. What do you mean you use it, you dumbass? That shooting the commercial scene was always really funny for me. But it's grown on me a lot over the years, and it's just really, really funny. I can't remember the blonde that plays his wife in the movie. I could have swore she had done another movie. Oh, that's Leslie Bibb.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
She was
Amy Adams plays the new love interest later on.
Leslie Bibb, I think, also played the reporter in a bunch of the Marvel movies. I think she was the reporter that interviewed.
She was the one Tony Stark slept with.
Yeah.
And Pepper got her dry cleaning or something.
That's funny because Amy Adams played a reporter in some other fucking, superhero series. Weird.
Oh yeah, right? Weird how things work out in the movie universes, huh? But
right.
so there's Talladega Nights. I'm sure most people have probably already seen that. Most people have their Wolf.
Yeah.
Hey, go watch it again because you can never go wrong watching a funny movie even if it's one you've already seen. So, Jeremy, what's the next one you want to talk about?
All right, this is where we're gonna start bringing out the torches and pitchforks.
A challenge.
Again, this may have, I don't know.
Just spit it out, boy. Come on.
I'm just saying, this may, again, I've said this several fucking times, this may have been why. It's also, again, when it came out and like how old I was, maybe it's just, I just thought it was entertaining. But the fact that I do keep watching it and I don't find it like any less entertaining is The Master of Disguise with Dana Carvey.
This was supposed to be like his big break.
Oh, what? Wayne's World wasn't enough? Or SNL?
Well, no. To break away and do his own thing was a big deal. And this was supposed to be the movie that was supposed to allow him to break away from SNL and Wayne's World and really be his own like big bankable star. And what have you seen him do since? Absolutely nothing.
I know, but okay, hear me out. This is where I'm like, this is where I had to start putting my fist up. Like, all right, fighting here.
Real quick, this is telling. The rating on Internet Movie Database is 3.4 out of 10.
Yeah, but those ratings were
so harsh. The movie is good. Why the fuck is it so low?
I would put more credit in the Rotten Tomatoes score than anything else. What's the Rotten Tomatoes score? The audience score. The audience score of Rotten Tomatoes. I would put more stock in it. I would imagine it's going to be way better than that.
Probably like a 4 out of... All right, there's good with the 5, right? So yeah, it's a...
They do percentages. I would imagine it's going to be like in the 50s.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Rotten Tomatoes, you said...
The audience score.
34%.
Oh, really? That low? I mean, it's still better, but I thought it would have been closer to 50, to be honest.
No, that's probably what I thought it was going to be. All right.
For comparison, I'm going to look up the He-Man movie, because that one... Starship Troopers.
Oh,
that was 7.3.
Well, yes, but again, that may have gotten better now because of the, like...
I thought that over time, people would have attached themselves to Master of Disguise a lot more, and it probably would have gone up a little bit in audience score. I'm actually kind of
maybe so.
At this point, though, I don't think it is. Look, all right. I don't. It's not like Dana Carvey isn't like a funny dude, right? And he plays each of these fucking characters. It's just wild. Like I know it's not supposed to be again. It's not a fucking Oscar-worthy movie. It's ridiculous, and it's meant to be that way.
But it's hammy and it's fun. It's relatable.
Yes, I know. Like, well, relatable as in if like your family had a fucking lineage of just being masters of disguise. I mean, right?
Well, no, relatable in that there's something about him that we all know somebody who's a little weird. I guess it's
maybe that's why I like it so much. I don't fucking know. I'm not on that level. Yeah.
Never mind.
I mean, I wouldn't call the police and then be like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, Mama Cannoli is here. Don't call again." Like, poor guy. He's just trying to find his mom and dad.
Oh,
I don't know.
Harold Gould was in it. Holy shit!
He's the grandfather. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
There's not necessarily the stars in the movie, but like the people that they got to be in the movie, like
James
playing
Brolin.
versions of themselves.
I only saw this once, and I don't remember hardly anything about it, but the funny scenes.
How do you forget James Brolin? Oh, because everybody knows the fucking turtle man. You can't forget that. You know.
Well, Jennifer Esposito was in it, and she's fantastic.
She was the love interest, and fucking Data from Star Trek was the fucking bad guy. So.
Yeah, Brent Spiner.
Yeah. Brent Spiner. How do you go wrong there? It's a weird, just kind of quirky movie that, like I said, if you just believe that this guy he taps into this weird power that the family fucking has, and they can basically method act all these people that they become. And I don't know. I think my favorite. I mean, not the turtle, but for some reason, I think the English guy that he played, like he went in there as like a German dude, and then like he switched costumes all of a sudden. He was like this like really snarky, like fucking English guy. I don't know why he was so funny. You're like, this is what you're doing, and this is what I want you to do. Any questions? Just tell me to shut up. Yes. I'm like, oh. It's just funny.
God, I have not seen this movie in forever.
It's not a bad movie. I don't know. It's fun. And like I was gonna say, like all the people that the actual like people that get to be in the movie as their actual characters, like Jessica Simpson, fucking Jesse Ventura. Shit, who else? There's hold on.
I'm looking.
Yeah, there was like people that
play
themselves in the movie. That's what it's funny they can just kind of bash on themselves a little bit, like, you know, like Jessica Simpson uses her fucking star power to take the lunar module from the fucking NASA program for
Michael Johnson.
Right, Michael Johnson. I mean, if Jesse Ventura said, "Hey, I'm gonna take the Liberty Bell," you fucking give it to him, whatever.
Kyle Sullivan. Paula Abdul was in it.
She was in a lot of stuff back then, though.
That's
when she was still relevant.
Ouch. Dana Carvey was still relevant.
Oh boy.
Whatever.
Well, he was very relevant. That's why this movie was probably a good idea at the time.
Like, I know. That's the sad thing. And you gotta admit, like, some of the little things, like the little movie stings that he fucking, like, he does an impression of fucking Scarface. How fucking funny is that? And he goes right to a fucking thing of Jaws, like playing Captain Quint in a little fucking rowboat. This is the Orca.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's dumb. And it's just funny. I like the movie.
It's good.
I remember it not being spectacular when I saw it.
I know it's not a good movie, but I like it.
It's okay. That's what this week is.
I know.
For.
This is the last bit here. I told you I'm going to start hanging my head like, you know, whatever. I don't care. I like it.
Mine will be way more embarrassing than yours, though. I promise.
I haven't got to my last one yet.
Your last one, though, honestly, I dig your last one. Your last one is a movie that I actually like.
And I'm left in suspense, so I will wait.
Right. I'm like, that's true. He knows what my last one is now.
I do know what your last one is. I know all of yours. I actually know all of yours ahead of time. I like you guys not knowing all of them because it makes it that much funner. That's why when I get to the one that might be a little embarrassing for me, I'm just going to put the poster up on the screen and wait a few seconds for you guys to see it and react.
See, when you were gone, she asked me, like, so what's your movies? I'm like, you'll find out. I don't
know none of ours will be the same. Like, you're like, of all the weeks, this week, nope, it's not happening.
But I'll give you my second to last one real quick. And honestly, this is a movie that a lot of people they've really come to it in the last like 10 years. It's actually really, really good. And that's Hackers, baby. I love this movie. Look,
why does that sound so familiar?
This is a very, very young Angelina Jolie. I think she was only 19 or so when she made this movie. And she is flat out gorgeous in this movie. Yeah. But
I've never seen this.
Oh, it's good. It's on a lot of the streaming services. You can probably find it on one of the streaming services from somewhere. This is one of the movies.
Like when you watch Gia or something. It's like she's super hot.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that I really feel like I should own on physical media just to have. I just haven't been able to find it anywhere. I'm not really actively looking for it, but if I find it somewhere, I'm probably going to pick it up. Basically, what happens is as the computer age is really kind of taking over the world, you have this young group of kids, much like it exists now. You have this young group of kids. Their brains are just wired with code, and they can hack computers. So both of these kids these kids and their group of friends end up hacking a computer and finding evidence of somebody doing nefarious things. And, of course, this person who is doing the nefarious things finds out that he got hacked. So there becomes this little hacking war of sorts that happens between the two factions. And it's wildly entertaining. And it was made back in, God, I want to say it was like 92,
95.
93. Oh, really? Oh, I'm surprised 95. It was that late. I thought it was earlier in the 90s.
Mid-90s,
yeah. But, I mean, it's just a wild movie. It's got a lot of people that... let's see.
It gets a 6.3 out of 10, so it does better than Masters in Disguise.
A lot of them were probably...
God damn it. I picked the lowest scored one. I probably really did.
A couple of them were pretty...
Out of all this...
And a couple of the people in here are already kind of big stars, and there's a couple of people that, obviously some of the character actors had already had great careers going in.
Mark Anthony was in this, the singer that knocked up J-Lo?
Yes.
Holy shit.
As well as...
they were married. To be fair, they were married, but yeah they...
As a matter of fact, Angelina Jolie and the guy that plays the lead role, he's in... he's in this new series, Holmes, or not Holmes, but
Johnny
Sherlock,
Lee Miller.
Johnny Lee Miller. They actually met on this set on this movie and got married for a while.
And nice. Penn and Teller, Penn was in this too.
Yeah,
The magician guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mick O'Rourke.
I've actually not seen this movie, so.
No,
Not
it was,
Mickey O'Rourke, I don't think. But
no,
It was like Mickey Rourke. Holy shit.
Yeah, Pendulum is one of the lackey guys that works for the main bad guy, and the main bad guy is the one who played the Indian, the weird Indian scientist guy in the Short Circuit movies back in the day. What's his name?
oh,
Fuck, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Damn it. Shit, I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, and he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's actually had a recurring role in The Blacklist and a couple other things. But yeah, it's a wildly entertaining movie, and again, it is kind of in this weird spot, this transition between eras of human existence, where everything was becoming computerized, and it was a very early view into exactly what could potentially happen with everything being taken over by motherboards, and
so like Eagle Eye, sort of.
In a way, yeah, in a way,
Okay.
a bit more campy, a bit more childish, sort of. I don't want to say childish.
Speaking of like,
but it's
Angelina Jolie and speaking of Angelina Jolie and like movies where it's like a wild technological concept. Actually, we saw they made it into a series and it was really well done. We got hooked about the Bone Collector. I didn't know it was the movie from like the fucking 90s with Denzel
She has
Washington.
quite the short haircut in the movie. It looks like too.
Oh yeah.
It was her and fucking Denzel Washington, and I'm like, yeah, in the fucking 90s. I mean, like in the series now, it's kind of set like now, and I'm like, oh, I can totally believe they have like this little tiny ass body cam and like fucking earpiece, and he can, since the guy's paralyzed, he can like guide her character, as a cop. But like in the 90s, I'm like, yeah, I don't think that really would work, but that's kind of a cool idea that he can sit in his chair and have like the whole feed right there, giving it to Angelina Jolie's character. It's kind of funny how it had the right idea.
Yeah, and it was kind of this. It was kind of in between like the 80s and 90s style of movie making too.
Hi.
So it's a really cool movie to watch, especially if you're into watching a lot of people who are kind of big stars now as you watch them when they were young.
Right.
Because like it's a young. Seriously, Angelina Jolie I think was 19 when this movie was filmed. 18 or 19.
Wow.
I mean, she was young. Not like child young, but she was like, she had been an adult for like 5 minutes young.
She was legal.
Yeah, she was legal.
She was legal.
She was only legal.
She was
legal by about a week. But
right.
yeah, and again, there's really a lot of great acting done in this whole film. I love it when you get a younger cast that plays so grown. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
honestly they're the mature ones who have all the. Like the younger group in this movie, they're the ones who are more mature and have the wiser outlook on life than these older guys. Now, some of them are bad guys are just not quite seeing what's going on. But like the guy who's the bad guy, he's the older guy who's kind of a little bit ahead of everybody else, except for maybe these kids. These are the one group of kids that can actually they can shut this guy down. Yeah, a really really cool movie that you guys should go and check out. Again, it's part computer, part techno thriller, part action thing. A little bit of a romance going on here and there, but not so much that it kind of runs over the rest of the movie. I thought it was a super fun movie, and I hope you guys check it out and see it because I think it's great.
Nice. I will.
And let's move on to see. Cora's got one more she wants to talk about. Let's go ahead and go to her.
I do. My last one is In Time from 2011. Justin Timberlake, Olivia Wilde, Amanda Seyfried. What? Just. So I love this.
Look, I've wanted to see it, so like I don't think it looked bad. I like the concept, but I'm just kind of like, is it bad? Because I kind of thought it was a cool concept.
Well, I just think a lot of people didn't know about it or
Convince me.
I think it didn't get big, and I think a lot of people didn't watch it or even know about it. But the cool thing is, it's this like sci-fi future imaginary world where at 25 you stop aging. And a little clock, like if you imagine on my arm here, there'd be like a little bar that goes across that's implanted into your arm that has like days, hours, and seconds or minutes or whatever. And it's a clock, like an alarm clock screen. Tells you how much time you have. And you're
Isn't
given
it
like
currency?
Mm-hmm.
Like they kind of use it.
Yeah, they tied
like currency.
Yeah, they tie time and currency, and if you run out, you die, just like that. Boom.
Right.
And so it's Olivia Wilde plays Justin Timberlake's mother.
Bullshit.
And
if she was my mom, she looked like that. Oh my god. Sorry.
And
I watched someone review
okay.
that movie, and I'm like, that's fucked up. If that was my mom, Jesus.
And Amanda Seyfried plays the love interest who's from the wealthiest of the wealthiest. Kind of think the difference in the Hunger Games of District, 3 or 4 to District 1. Anyways, and Matt Boomer, however you want to say it, plays one of the richer folks who is tired of living. He's been living for hundreds of years, and he's sick of the luxury and carelessness to the rest of humanity, which lives in poverty. And so he goes to a bad neighborhood, and there's a way of like touching arms like this where you can program the time to switch to one person from another. And so he purposely goes to a seedy part of a town and wants to get someone to steal his time.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So that he can die, because he just wants to die. But he has like literally like hundreds of years on his counter. And Justin Timberlake saves him and brings him to a hideaway place from getting found by, like a gang that steals time from people. Anyway, so he, in his sleep, when Justin Timberlake's sleeping, the guy gives all his time but 5 minutes to him. And he wakes up and he's like, holy shit, I have 100 years. What am I, and people are living like, like one day at a time, working in factory jobs. So it's all about the adventures of him figuring out what to do with his time. And he ends up in the district where the really rich people live. That's where he meets up with Amanda Seyfried. And it's about them literally becoming a futuristic Bonnie and Clyde to take down this system of the ultra rich having all the time and everybody else being screwed. And they even break into banks, which are, where they keep like SD card size things that, have the time that anyways, fucking fantastic. And it was so iconic to me because how many movies do you watch where there are no old people in the movie at all? Oh, my Apple Watch decided to start talking.
Your time started running out.
So
I'm sorry, you had this many days left.
Yeah, exactly. It was so just iconic because there are no old people in this movie. There are children, but it was just such an interesting take on things. And there's a cop in the movie. Where is he? Which one is he?
Oh, wait, I just thought of a movie. I'm sorry. I thought of a movie.
No. Anyway, so basically the rich folks have created this like police force of sorts to make sure that nobody steals time and nobody gives it away. Johnny Galecki is actually in he plays the best friend of Justin Timberlake's character. Who the fuck is the cop? But anyways, there's a cop in there who's chasing him down because even though the rich guy gave the time to him, you're not allowed to do that on that scale. And so in their mind, it's stolen. So it's just fantastic for me. Good music. It
sounds like a wild concept. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like a futuristic Wild West thing,
Yeah. Like I thought I just never got a chance to see it, I guess, or like a way to see it. Maybe that was why. I was just like, oh, that sounds really cool, but like I would actually enjoy it.
And I'm a Justin Timberlake fan in general, but he really impressed me in this movie with his acting.
He's weird.
I was shocked.
He's weirdly like impressive. I'm just like, when I see him and stuff and he's actually acting, I'm like, dude, like you can act. Like you can sing and dance like a motherfucker. You can also
Did you see him in Black Snake Moan? Shit, he was so good playing the PTSD soldier who comes back freaked out. He's not confident. He's not suave. He's this, very emotionally sensitive, and self-torturing addict who, just wants the best for his girlfriend. And holy shit. Yeah. He was really good in that. Samuel L. Jackson really shines in that, but Justin Timberlake was good in it. But so anyway, so that's why I like In Time. And at first you think it's about time travel, but really it's not at all. It's just about currency being about time.
Because like a weird thing I was thinking about, I think it was today. They made it to a movie, and it was actually pretty cool to see. I think the book was called The Giver. I think the movie was called that too. and it's
that's a book series, by the way. I've read the books. There's 3 books that make up the Giver. Four books that make up the Giver series.
Because it's just a weird thought of like in this dystopian future, it's like they don't have emotions. They take this shit to like suppress their emotions all day, and like one guy is in charge of all of that. Like they all have the same things. They all have the same. It's just so fucking weird because you think, God, that would actually suck. You realize how much like that would suck. But then like, to be the one guy in your society that has to bear the weight of all of that, like holy shit. And like no one else has any idea, and like you can't explain it to them. Like,
there's an old sci-fi movie. Let me find it. Where they all die at 30.
Sounds familiar. I can't think.
Logan's Run. Logan's Run.
Oh, yes.
So where everybody, you only can live to a certain age, but this isn't so much about to a certain age. It's you stop aging, you can live forever if you can afford it.
If you can, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Yeah, but there's also no old people on Logan's Run. They're all young.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I love the idea of time being currency. That's I gotta admit, I never saw this movie. Mostly because I'm not a big fan of boy bands, and Justin Timberlake, that's how I always see him.
We were just sitting here talking about how much we love JT, and he's like, I fucking don't like him.
Yeah, I don't like him. Sorry.
You don't have to. I love him enough for both of us.
You go right ahead.
I like him.
But yeah, it's a really interesting concept of time being currency. But I as I'm hearing you guys talk about it, I'm not getting something. It's like you're not allowed to give time to anybody else. Time is the currency, right? So you pay for your cup of coffee with.
Well, there's probably rules to it. You can't just be
But the thing is,
you don't just move $1 billion without that raising some questions.
Right, right. And so the thing is, the guy died, and so he didn't formally do anything where he gave it to him publicly or anything in writing. And so the upper crust folks don't. Right, if the upper crust folks, they're trying to control the masses by making it so very few people had time, so that most of the population are forced to work doing slave work in factories and be servants.
Like man with money.
And so they know that if more time or currency it floods the neighborhoods, people are going to work less. They're not going to need the money as much, or the currency as much. So they're not, and so they use the guise of, well, you probably killed him, so you stole it. Even though he said he gave it to him, it was like, well, it's your word against a dead man. So it's just their way of controlling.
There's nothing in writing to prove that he fucking did that. So they're like, well, you obviously killed him then.
Yeah. Like, why would he want to get rid of time? Everybody wants to live forever. And the brief conversation that Matt Bomer has with Justin Timberlake.
Didn't his mom give him some time at one point? Like, she just kind of casually, like, here you go. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and when you turn 25, they give you like the equivalent of like 2 or 3 years, I think. So you can get your footing in life. And most poor people end up having to use it to pay for their family's bills. They don't actually get to keep it. So, and then you have people in the upper crust, like Amanda Seyfried, who's literally going to inherit 1 billion years when her dad dies. Who, by the way, is played by one of my favorite actors, from Mad Men. He played Peter in Mad Men, the ultimate guy you never want to like, who's a total dick, but who is perfect for this character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said if an actor makes you actually like hate that fucking character, props to him, because that's what they're supposed to do.
Yes, and the dad does that in this movie.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, don't ever hate the actor. Like, if people are like, they get mad over a character, I'm like, no, they're meant to do that. They're meant to piss you off. That's the point. Like, don't give the actor shit for it. They're doing their job, man.
Darth Vader, before he has his little last end.
Darth Vader's just straight up evil. It's not really like a. Yeah. I don't know.
You don't love him until the end. Even then, he's just redeemed. But yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's In Time. I think it's great. Also, really great musical score. It reminded me a lot of Tron in perfect timing and pacing with the action scenes and the quiet scenes, and it just was really well done. The soundtrack, I don't remember that being notable, but the musical score itself was fucking fantastic.
It probably was a whole lot of fucking whatever the hell group he sang with.
I was like, don't you goddamn dare! I'm like, I know exactly. He's like, oh, I bet JT did the soundtrack. Fuck you.
No. It was actual, like, it's a pretty good action movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Take your word. I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll sit and watch it. But I like I said, I'm not in a big rush to see anybody with a boy band in it. Although I do like Amanda Seyfried. He's
an actor. He's not singing in it.
Just because you're in a movie doesn't make you an actor.
Have you seen him in Black Snake Moan with Samuel Jackson?
But I'm like, are you going to give him a chance? Like, that's put aside. Like, don't have to think of him as a fucking being in a boy band. That was like fucking 20 years before he probably even did this movie too. Like.
He's more of a music producer, Frank, than in a boy band.
Do we fucking still give, Mark Wahlberg shit for Marky Mark? I mean, maybe, but like that was how many years ago. I know, but like, do we just still tie in that? Like, oh, he's Marky Mark. Fuck him. Like,
I think Good Vibrations is still a better song than anything that Justin Timberlake and his people have ever done.
Frank, I have to say this.
And you still watch The Departed, and you're still fucking entertained by it. Don't even.
You're having a moment, an old man get off my lawn moment.
I'm perfectly fine to have one of those get off my lawn moments. It's not that I want everybody off my lawn. It's that I want shitty people off my lawn.
Well, I will love Justin Timberlake for you.
You love Justin Timberlake enough for the both of us.
I will.
I'm on your side. I got you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Jeremy, you've got one more you want to talk about, and it's one of my favorite movies as well. It gets a lot of hate, even though...
Yes, I know. See,
what is it?
Because I feel like it probably could have been really great, like even better. But this is a mouthful too. It's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That's a great movie.
I know, and it's
love Sean.
Sean Connery.
Yes, in it.
You love Mr. Bond. Now. But here's the funny thing. He gave up the role of Gandalf to do this movie instead.
Well, good. I would not want him for Gandalf. I like it the way it was.
No. I'm like, I could see you doing it. Maybe that's the right choice, but I'm like, but you did this, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. Kind of went. Look, I'm not saying Sean Connery. Yeah, you can't really do any wrong. I love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal fucking actor. And at that point in his career, I'm just kind of like, I don't really care. Like, I love your character. Like, I think him and Tom Sawyer are like my two favorite characters in that fucking movie. I know they were cool. Like, I mean, he's kind of like Sean Connery kind of plays like the Batman of the group. He's like, he doesn't really have like a special power. Not vampire.
He's just the rich guy who organizes everything.
He's really rich, but he's just kind of like, he was just like really experienced.
He plays Alan Quartermain, who is historically... He's probably closer to. He's like
a really experienced hunter.
He's like a combination of Indiana Jones and Bruce Wayne in a way. I mean, he's probably more Indiana Jones. He's definitely more about discovering and all that. But Alan Quartermain is a character that has been the basis.
You mean Henry Jones Sr.?
Yeah, Alan Quartermain has been the main character of movies going all the way back to like to the 50s. I mean, Alan Quartermain is a tremendously popular character in picture and in film.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing, and I'm like, that's what was so fucking cool about this. I'm like, this is like pre-Avengers, pre-fucking, like, dude, you have this team-up movie of like all these literary...
This is 2003. I mean, this is going way back.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, holy shit, this is, like, imagine if these fucking literary characters all got together to make a team to fucking, like, stop, I don't know, well, I guess this was kind of be like terrorism in a way.
And Dorian Gray is one of my favorite literary characters.
I like Dorian Gray's cool as shit.
Yeah, I mean Tom Sawyer, Captain Nemo,
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yep.
What's Mina Harker?
Mina Harker, yeah.
Who's the vampire? Yeah.
And Peta Wilson, she was great in that TV show that Nikita. So I was really excited that she was in this.
And The Invisible Man.
This one.
Yeah. Yeah. And fucking, of course, the main baddie is obviously, one of the greatest literary bad guys is fucking Professor Moriarty from fucking Sherlock Holmes. I'm like, how fucking cool is it?
I'm going to rewatch this movie this week. I forgot how much I love this movie.
Yeah, I actually watched it again fairly recently. I think I showed it to my mom. She had never seen it. I'm just kind of like, no, you got to watch it. This shit is cool. I don't know. The action is fucking wild. Like I said, I love Tom Sawyer and fucking Alan Quartermain's characters.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that they fucking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a weird because like I love the fact that like they do the long distance shooting with that fucking big ass goddamn rifle. I'm like, I love long range shooting too. That's why I'm just like, I think that's a badass fucking character because like I would love to be like that. He's just gonna sit there and just like knock this fucking target out from like 900 yards with this little fucking. This big like double barrel fucking.
And let's be honest,
like,
the movie poster for this one is fucking epic. I mean, I love how they get all the characters on it. It reminds me of like. It reminds me of like something you see for WrestleMania or something.
Yeah, like this is the team up movie.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can tell me that car wasn't fly as fuck too.
Oh yeah,
I call it an automobile.
That car was dope.
Right, dude. I mean, I'm like, I don't know where the prop of that car went if it's still around, but my God, somebody please, some collector, please have it because it's awesome.
Yeah, this is like one of the first great mashup films. I wonder what could have been had they taken like an Avengers approach and like had all these characters in their own separate movies and built up to
exactly.
This.
I would have loved to have seen that.
We only wonder that now because we've been so terribly spoiled over 20 something properties in 10 or 11, 12 years of Marvel. But I mean, it's not like these characters were bad. I mean, like I said, Alan Quartermain has been a guy who's been the subject of probably 50 or 60 different books and television series and movies. This is a guy, and honestly, who better to play Alan Quartermain at that stage of his career than Sean Connery, a guy who probably knew, an actor who probably knew that character inside and out more than anybody else. And then you get to see, like, how do you do, like, Dr. Jekyll on a big screen and not make it look kind of cartoonish and silly? Oh, yeah, you do it in this movie. Because I actually like the way they did that. And Gray, who is a very intriguing character. It's like I actually thought
I've seen that old movie too.
Yeah, I think the way they approached his character was a good rendition of some of the stuff that I've read about Dorian Gray. They do make these characters pretty close to honest about to the source material, to the at the roots of what these characters are. Tom Sawyer, I don't know, maybe not so much, but I mean, he
was kind of the creative control.
It was kind of like we have to have that one American kind of like legendary figure in there, so we're going to throw a young Tom Sawyer in there to learn everything he wants.
He's like a secret agent or some shit.
Yeah, the last few things he needs to learn to be a man from a guy like Alan Quartermain. But yeah, it's just look. I don't think the movie was terrible. I think it came out at a bad time before anybody really knew how to make a movie like this. I mean, if you could have given something like this to the Russo brothers after they had proven their dominance with all the Marvel stuff, you can't tell me this movie wouldn't have made $1.5 billion at the box office instead of the bust.
That's what I'm saying. I wish it would have I wish it could have been that because I'm like I see the potential here. I'm like, who even thinks of that kind of shit? Like this is fucking wild. I would love to have seen a string of a Marvel string of series of movies about this fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
You could have added other characters. You could have fucking.
That car was on sale on eBay for $300,000 5 years ago.
Damn. There's not a big market for movie props like there used to be, though.
Yeah.
It used to be back in the 80s and 90s. It's like even the dumbest
I'll buy my DeLorean
prop,
now. Then
even the dumbest movie prop would have been worth so much money. But it's like nowadays, it's like I don't know, they're pushing so many movies out. They make so many like for every one car they use, like that one car that Dominic Toretto drives in whatever Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
They make like 75 versions of that car to use for different scenes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and
so you're gonna crash a lot of cars.
Some of them get but there's always like 10 or 15 of them that are like usable, and they can get used again either in further films or if they keep around for whatever reason, display. So it's not. So it's like, it's like things don't have a great market anymore. It's not that there isn't people out there that wouldn't love to own some of this shit. I certainly would love to own a couple pieces of movie history, but that's just me. But yeah, I never understood why this movie got the hate that it got. It's really unfortunate that Sean Connery had to end his career on this movie.
That's what I'm saying. That was the other sad part.
Because like I said, who could have done the role of Alan Quartermain at this point in his life better than Sean Connery?
I thought he was a badass dude. I don't know. You just said he's kicking ass, and you're like,
yeah, he easily steals the movie. He easily steals the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, he doesn't just steal it. He like takes it and he fucking slaps you in the mouth and walks off with it. I mean, he kicks sand in your face and takes the movie. It's like he is so good. And that was part of one of the problems. It's like he was so good, and it's like I don't really have a problem with the rest of the performances, but like you're acting against Sean Connery, you better have your balls screwed on tight. You know what I mean? And
Right.
And like I said, it's an amazing concept. I mean, who'd have thought to put all these literary characters in like one movie and just been like,
Right.
let's create this outlandish, crazy story around them all. If they have to start Moriarty, I didn't really like the idea of having Moriarty and not having Holmes. You know what I mean?
I remember that.
I was like, yeah, as a bad guy, who better? Like as a literary bad guy, but I'm kind of like.
I get it, but it's like
He does kind of come out of nowhere.
It's like that question that you had when the Joker movie came out. It's like, can you have Joker and not have Batman and have things not look a little off? It's like one kind of needs the other to fulfill their full promise. I thought it maybe just tied into the whole like unreliable narrator. I'm like, see, then you start questioning, did that really happen or was that true? You're kind of like, wait, what the fuck? You know, I don't know. It did kind of feel like it was in your face, like, hey, Batman exists. Remember Batman? Batman's cool. Batman's like a child, and this dude's like in his fucking 40s for some reason, but I don't know. Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
I talked about all this stuff. I talked about all this stuff when I reviewed the Joker. I was like, that's why I was like, great character.
I still appreciate
bad comic book movie.
I still appreciate that he is still kind of the reason his parents got shot in the fucking alleyway. I'm like, oh, as soon as I saw them walk in that theater, I'm like, oh no. Right, I'm like, oh shit.
But
fuck you, Burton. I don't know. That's the only issue I have with the Burton films. I'm like, no, he didn't. It was a guy named Joe Chill. Just leave it alone. I know you want to tie them together in some poetic way. No.
Got Chris Skywalker in the chat giving us a few of his ideas. Home Alone 3, not terrible. I prefer the first one to the second one. 3, and not so much. Cars 2, you're not going to hear a lot of people say Cars 2 was good, especially not as good as the first one. Cars 3 was the one that really lost me. National Security says is good. National Security, that's the one with Martin Lawrence, right? I think it's
he did mention Stephen Zane and Martin Lawrence being in it, yeah.
Yeah. It said, Hubie I never got a chance to see Hubie Halloween. The Grown-Ups movies never really did it for me. I saw the first one, never saw the second one. I don't know. Maybe it's because that was that weird period of time where it seemed like Adam Sandler wasn't really... He wasn't peak Adam Sandler, but he's gotten better the last couple movies that I've seen.
TSS said his guilty pleasure movies were The Benchwarmers, The King's Speech, White Chicks,
now the King's
Semi-Pro.
Yeah, I don't know if King's Speech qualifies as a guilty pleasure. That movie won Oscars. That movie is phenomenal. That's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, he mentions the one that a lot of people either love or hate, Election. Holy shit, that movie was like Matthew Broderick.
Maybe.
And,
I thought it was pretty popular at one point.
I liked it.
But, he also mentions Freddy versus Jason. If you go down in the comments in the...
I mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, if you go down in the description below, you can find Nightwatch's channel. He actually just broke down all the Friday the 13th movies, and he's starting on the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Nightmare.
He actually did a video a week or so ago about Freddy versus Jason. You should go check that out.
He said his guilty pleasure movie was The Exorcist 2, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like The Exorcist. It's really hard to follow up something that is groundbreaking and not have it look kind of off.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't seen Exorcist 2 in a long time. I think I may have saw it once when I was younger, like when it first came out, or close to when it first came out. But God, it's been so long. I'd have to really go back. I can't remember. I know I've seen it. I just can't remember any part of it. But yeah, there's a couple of them in here. Kangaroo Jack, Stuart Little 2. Stuart Little movies.
Stuart Little 2 is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple people in here. I know, let's see. What was the one that Drew had put in there a minute ago? Oh, I forgot. I kind of overlooked it. A Walk to Remember. So there's he's got some chick flick action going on in his guilty
Makes me like it more.
Chick flick movies can be good. I have a couple of favorites. I'm not going to lie. I have a couple I think are good. That's a topic. That's a topic for another show. That's a topic for another show.
I was gonna say,
oh my God, damn it, we're gonna do that, aren't we?
It's gonna happen eventually. Come on.
I know.
Because there are a couple out there that are actually pretty good.
I think I've already seen enough to at least make a list. Jesus.
Oh, boy.
I'm trying to be like, I'm a man. I don't watch that shit. Like, no, I have seen some. There are some that I enjoy.
I can think of two right off the top of my head that I love. I can think of two chick flicks right off the top of my head that I absolutely love. But yeah, go check out League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's a movie that like I said, I think a lot of people enjoyed it. Can you imagine what we could have gotten at least a little bit more Sean Connery had he not done this and instead done Lord of the Rings instead?
I don't want him in Lord of the Rings. I like the guy who played Gandalf perfectly.
Yes,
but we say that. But this is Sean
McKellen's great.
No.
Well, no, but the fucking I don't know. I think the reason he
Did it
said too is
every
he's like, he just didn't understand. He just didn't understand like what the fuck it was about. I'm like, well, okay, I guess. Hey, fantasy's not his thing.
Every shot and thought, oh, that's James Bond. Oh, that's James Bond. Or,
well, who else are you gonna? I mean, I even said Henry Jones Sr. I'm like, well, yeah,
yeah, but I don't watch. But every time I watch The Rock, I don't look at him and like, oh, that's James Bond. I see Sean
that's
Connery.
James Bond. Yeah,
he's done so many other great roles that I could not.
The Hunt for Red October.
Oh yeah,
I just like the guy who played Gandalf. I guess I think he pulled it off really well.
Yeah, Ian McKellen's amazing.
I do too. I love Ian McKellen, but can you imagine? We could have gotten at least one or two more Sean Connery films had he picked that over this movie.
I feel like it's like he should have just folded right there. I'm like, no, you still played a great fucking character and you played it well. I mean, maybe it was a good time to fold it, and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, maybe it's time to stop. I mean, but at the end, I mean, I hate that we still get the tease of, like Marie said, Africa would never allow him to die. You see his grave, and you see the fucking sand start to shift, and the gun started to rattle. I'm like, oh, here he comes, here he comes.
Witch dancing and all that shit and all that crazy was starting to happen. Damn right.
Like Tom Sawyer, like, clacked the gun and just said, like, hey, thanks, and, like, left it there. I'm like, oh, he was going to come back. He was going to come back.
I like how he twirled that gun around with a flourish. I was like, overact much?
So I'm saying, he did the fucking Terminator. He's like, thanks for everything, man. He like took off. Like, oh, awesome.
I kind of cringed myself.
If you have a lever action gun, you're kind of obligated to do that.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, go check out League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I think you guys get a kick out of it. Okay, now here's what I want to do. Before I do the giveaway for the 3 people that are actually in the Patreon anymore, I'm just going to put this picture up, and I want you.
I'm not even on the thing.
Okay, well, get on the thing because I want to put this picture up, and I want to and go down in the chat and let me know if you think I'm stupid for liking this movie.
Oh, there it is, right there.
But this is one of my grandmother's favorite movies. She watches it all the time, and if you sit and watch it, this is what happens before an actor becomes too full of himself and too weird and artsy, and he just does movies because he needs to have a job. You know what I mean? Because now, at this point, he was already famous, but you know. I'll just wait for a second. I'll wait for this thing to pop up. One reaction.
I see Guilty Pleasures. I'm waiting for the new one.
It'll give a second. I'll get there. I know my phone, for some reason, when I'm watching my phone, is a little behind. But
on my phone.
You got to see it now.
Still a lag. Hold on.
Yep. Same here.
Really?
We need
okay. Okay. That's not like.
Why don't I see it?
All right. There it is.
I gotta be honest. My grandmother had like 3 movies that she would watch on a loop, and this was one of them.
What were the other 2 out of curiosity?
Actually, she watched. There was a Chuck Norris movie. I forget which one. Because despite the fact that she was like 105 years old, she used to love watching like Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris movies. It was Bruce Lee and Urban Cowboy. Urban Cowboy is one of the other ones she used to like to watch. And there was a couple other ones that she would like sprinkle in there. But yeah, this was one of the ones that she used to love to watch when as she was getting later on in her life. Look, this is before Johnny Depp became weird. Maybe he was already a little weird. Maybe his weirdness wasn't as pronounced. But this is one of those things he's like, I still have to establish my career, so I'm going to go ahead and do this terrible movie. But here's something you got to understand. This is based on a John Waters musical. So John Waters is a guy who did Hairspray. He did, oh God, what's the other one?
I'm looking.
He's done a couple other big like musicals, both staged that got turned into.
Hairspray. He did the Chucky movies. Dear goodness.
Yeah, but this. It's kind of unfortunate what happened to everybody that was in this movie. It's like Johnny Depp. We all know about Johnny Depp's problems right now. The girl Amy Locane that played the blonde, she I think got drunk and like killed a guy one night or something like that, driving around in her car. She was on the newer incarnation of Melrose Place, I think, when it came on for a year. I don't know, 5-6 years ago. But now I'm pretty sure.
He wrote Serial Mom. Cool.
Yeah, John Waters has been around for a while. But yeah, these kind of weird movies. He's from Baltimore. He's a Baltimore guy. So a lot of these movies that he wrote, that's why they take place around Baltimore. Crybaby, Hairspray, and a bunch of other stuff that he wrote, they take place in Baltimore. So no, JCS, it's not Grease. It's Crybaby. This was not as good as Grease. Certainly not as good as Grease. But it reminds me a lot of like the old Elvis movies from like the 50s and 60s before Elvis became all kind of weird.
Yeah.
It kind of had that vibe. There's even that scene in the jailhouse, which it looked like they were directly trying to put up Jailhouse Rock in a little bit. It became kind of a musical thing. And they kind of like fit into some of the stuff that was going on in the 50s. It was like, obviously there was like some segregation stuff they tackled. There was some class stuff that they tackled between the rich people and the poor people. It was, and there was this little hint of like Romeo and Juliet in it a little bit, because Amy Locane's character clearly comes from the higher class of the Baltimore society, whereas Johnny Depp's character, Crybaby, is this juvenile delinquent who is from this poor, the other side of the tracks, the wrong side of the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So it did have kind of this feel
Mile.
of, it did have a little bit of 8 Mile kind of Romeo and Juliet feel. It's always a movie that when it comes on, it's like, this is one of the movies that me and my daughter will sit and watch endlessly.
Oh, that's sweet.
She loves movies like this. But yeah, I just think it's a cool movie. Like I said, part of it's kind of a nostalgia thing because my grandma watched it a lot when I was a kid. And the other part of it is my daughter kind of lashed onto it for a while. She hasn't watched it in a long time. I actually gave her my copy on DVD to take home, and I haven't seen it since.
Aww.
So I'm assuming it's still over at her place, with her mom somewhere. But yeah, and honestly, the reason I gave it to her is because I kind of stopped watching it on my own because there was just so much stuff so many movies to watch, so many TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't putting in a lot of my old DVDs to watch just for shits and giggles anymore. I was trying to catch up on everything else. But this is one of those movies that, it's like the whole teardrop thing. It's like, you can tell it's like a piece of glue that they like drip down there and let it harden. It doesn't shine the way that a tear does. It's actually very solid. The special effects were not fantastic whenever they tried to make him cry a lonely teardrop. But yeah, I just always thought it was a wildly entertaining movie, and one that I've always gotten a great amount of joy in watching.
Nice.
I was hoping I would shock people with it a little more. Maybe I'll have to maybe I'll save the shock for the chick flicks movie, because there's a couple of chick flicks that I like.
Speaking of TSS, we should save that for Valentine's Day next year.
Chick flicks, I don't know, yeah, maybe, I don't know. We'll plot it out.
Or wedding season in June.
Could possibly. I don't know. We'll look at it.
Or whatever Jeremy really wants to whine. Because I know he doesn't want to do it.
I have a feeling Jeremy will probably have a few too.
Maybe.
Yeah, man, it might surprise you.
Maybe you should consult people who like chick flicks, and you should watch all of them.
Right, I don't know about all of them.
I don't know if I want to watch all of them. I feel like I would put my own head in the oven and put it on broil if I had to watch, especially once I got like 3 or 4 deep into ones that are just really terrible, because some of them are really terrible. I'd just be like, okay, put my head in the microwave and put it on max. I'm done. But yeah, I've always found that movie really fun to watch. And like I said, it's full of a lot of talent. It's who's in it? Iggy Pop's in it. Oh God, who am I thinking of?
Amy Locane, Susan Tyrrell, Polly Bergen, Ricky Lake, Tracy Lords, Kim McGuire,
Tracy Lords,
Derek Burrows, Stephen Mailer, Kim Webb.
Who played the dark-haired girl? I forget.
I don't know. I just see names. Allison, Ramona, Pepper, Wanda, Mona. Any of that ring a bell? The character name?
I mean, the actors. The one that played the really skinny dark-haired girl that played the bongos.
No idea. Let me see what I can tell by the picture.
I'd have to go look. But yeah, it's got some pretty entertaining characters in it, especially Iggy Pop. I mean, it's like whenever I think of Iggy Pop, I always think of that one scene where he kind of gets introduced in the movie and he's laying there in like this trough.
Does she have really big boobs?
No, she was a skinnier lady with long dark hair.
Okay. There's a secret dark hair in the picture.
In the movie anyway. I don't know in real life. Especially now. I mean, Christ, this movie's like 120 years old. But,
1990. Not that old.
Yeah, it's old.
Yeah, I was born in 92, jackass.
Hey, that makes me feel old.
It's old for me.
Right.
It was decades ago. Plural, decades ago.
Barely. Shut up.
But yeah, I've always thought it was funny. What's going on, Bullsy? You're coming in towards the end, man. You came in just in time to watch this giveaway. Looks like we're giving away $25 to somebody. But yeah, I think we've exhausted all of our movies. We really do need to come close to wrapping this up now. This has gone on a little bit longer than what I usually want it to. But hey, we're having fun talking about our guilty pleasure movies. But while we're done talking about the movies for right now, let's go over to studio mode and then go back to the giveaway screen. And And there it is right there, kids. We're going to give away some movie tickets right now. There are 3 people that are currently hooked up to the Patreon. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, I'll go ahead and give the plug real quick since we're about to give it away.
Do it in the chat.
Let me put this on there. If you support us for just $5 a month, that's all you got to do. We give away $25 in free movie tickets every month. Now, what this is meant to do is not to help support the movie production companies, not to help us throw money at them. It's really to go support movie theaters as we start to come out of this pandemic. It's been really, really hard on a lot of businesses, on everybody, really. But movie theaters specifically have been getting their asses kicked through this whole thing. What I really hope we do is by supporting the channel, I give you a chance to win $25 a month in free movie tickets, and you take that, go see a movie. Go take your significant other out to see a movie. Maybe you go yourself, get a matinee. That should be enough money for you to get in. Maybe get yourself a soda and a box of candy. Go support these kids. A lot of teenagers and just regular people that are working at these movie theaters, in the box office, the concession stand, and in management. The young kids that sweep up in between the movies. Just go support them. Let's get out there and see movies. Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong just came out. That's actually doing very well in theaters right now from everything I've read. That's a very promising sign. You're seeing more and more theaters opening up, especially in New York and California, where they've been really opening theaters lately. Even those are starting to come around. They're going to be opening in the next couple of days. I know the Regal's supposed to be opening most of their theaters in some capacity here in the next day or two. So just for $5 a month, you get a chance to win $25 in free movie tickets. That will help you just kind of go out and support your local theater. And I will give it to you in for whatever theater you want. I know some people have different theaters in their area. You just let me know if you're a lucky winner, which theater you want $25 in gift certificates to, and I will make sure you get them. So yeah, go. You'll be paid. Yeah, thank you, JCS Foot Rub. If you want to sign up for the Patreon, that's cool. We definitely appreciate that. I would say that if you want to sign up, now's a good time to sign up because they usually charge you the first of the month, so you get like the whole month for free, and then not for free, but you'll be signed up for next month. Is all I'm saying. So,
yep.
So let's get over to the picking thing. And let's see, I'll move it here, I'll move it there, and I'll pick, let's see, Jennifer's favorite color is blue. We'll go down here. Because Jennifer is one of the patrons. Gatekeeper Drew! I picked and it goes to somebody other than Jennifer. Isn't that the best thing in the world? Gatekeeper Drew, for the second time, has won $25 in free tickets from everybody here at the Harsh Truth. Thanks, Gatekeeper Drew, for supporting the channel. We very much appreciate it. I will reach out to you sometime very soon, and we will figure out how to get your $25 in free movie tickets. Thank you very much for being a part of everything, Gatekeeper Drew, and thank you very much to all of you out there. Let me get back to the right screen so that we can all say our proper goodbye. So, any final thoughts on anything that all the movies that we've talked about tonight for you, Cora?
No, I had some runners up, but I really feel good about the 5 I picked and love seeing the ones you guys picked. You guys have inspired me to add some that I haven't seen to my to-do list. And I'm going to rewatch The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen this week and maybe Cry Baby this next week. So thank you. Yeah.
How about you? Any final thoughts? Any honorable mentions you want to throw out there real quick?
I don't... weird when I think I thought about. I'm trying to remember the ones I thought about. For some reason, specifically the unrated version of The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I don't know why I watched that movie so many fucking times.
Because it's hilarious.
I don't know. It's just hilarious, and I never get tired of watching it. I don't know. It's a great fucking comedy. It's worth watching, especially with all the people that are in it. I guess now I'm kind of. I think I just looked. I think it was on Amazon. I can actually watch it in time, so maybe I'll do that.
I'm pretty sure I saw it on one of the streaming services fairly recently. It's probably going to be out there somewhere. But yeah, as for me, I had a couple on my list. I almost, because I know in the community there's a whole lot of wrestling fans. I almost put No Holds Barred. It's not a good movie, but it came out in a time when I was still kind of a wrestling fan, so to see Zeus and Hulk Hogan go at it, I thought it was kind of a funny movie. It was kind of weird to see them actually try to sell wrestling as real, even though back then I fake. But it was still a fun movie to watch, and it gave us Tiny Lister to the world. So not only was he a wrestler, but he became pretty big in Hollywood as well. Obviously as Debo on Friday, and rest in peace to him. Actually, he just passed away a few months ago. Another one that there was actually 4 of them I had on my list. One was No Hold Barred. The other one was Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow. And Jeremy, I think you can relate to me on this one. I actually
think Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I've even heard of it.
That movie is actually, look, all-star cast. I mean, it's got Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, Giovanni Ribisi, the girl we just talked about, fucking from Hackers.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't see it, but looking at the movie poster, I remember thinking it's weird they put Angelina Jolie in an eye patch.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the whole movie is really, it's not cartoonish. It's not steampunk. What's the word I'm looking for? It's definitely kind of it's a version of the past where things are more futuristic, if that makes any sense at all. But it's definitely a really cool movie. I remember it being obnoxiously long, but it was actually kind of a weird, cool kind of sci-fi kind of thing. It was really, really
not quite like Fallout, where it's like it's past, but it's kind of the future-ish.
Similar to that. I've actually got it on DVD. Next time you come by, I'll let you borrow it, or we can pop it in real quick. It's actually a pretty entertaining movie.
Didn't you want to hang out Saturday?
Yes.
You can watch a chick flick while he's there, Frank.
I've probably got a couple on DVD somewhere.
Me and Frank are not going to watch a fucking...
I hope you do.
But
we're going to cook steaks like men, and then we're going to cry over ice cream. That's
while we're watching a chick flick. But another one I wanted to watch, it probably isn't so much a guilty pleasure. This movie was tremendously popular when it came out, and it's got its own cult following. Was Clue, that came out in 1985. I actually heard that they're actually working on a remake for that as well, which I'm kind of like iffy on. I'm like, I don't know if I want you guys to touch that movie. That's one of those ones that's kind of it's in the holy area where I don't really want you to mess with. The other one, and you guys and Marvel fans can shit on me all they want.
If you say Howard the Duck.
This movie is absolutely fucking terrible.
I hate Howard the Duck.
This movie is fucking terrible. I'm not gonna lie. The only thing that saves it is the actress that's in it. But it's Howard the Duck. Fuck you guys. You can hate me all you want. It's Howard the Duck.
I didn't say that.
I have been saying for a long, long time, especially since Howard the Duck has made a few kind of cameo appearances in the Marvel stuff. I don't understand why they don't just make a one-off Howard the Duck movie in Marvel. You don't have to make him an Avenger. You don't have to make him part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Just make a fun one-off of Howard the Duck just for shits and giggles. You don't have to spend $250 million on it. You can do it for pretty dirt cheap, because you can find graphics companies in Hollywood that will do it for almost nothing. Get somebody with a name to do the voice acting. You can do it mostly in puppets and shit anyway. Find a couple of young up and coming actors that just want to be in a Marvel movie and just remake this shit and do it right. Because that movie that came out, look, this was a George Lucas movie and it bombed. It was terrible.
Right.
But it is still kind of fun to watch. I mean, it's just goofy. I mean, a duck gets sucked out from this other dimension where Duck World lives and ducks act like people to this dimension, and there's a big monster that gets sucked in from this other dimension, and the duck comes here and is hanging out with Leah Thompson and her crazy girl band. I mean, come on, let's just have fun with it. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's make one Howard the Duck.
I think you're writing a lot on Leah Thompson. That's why, and I'm not disagreeing with you. To be. Whew.
Oh yeah, Leah Thompson is the only thing that makes this movie watchable. But still, I mean, it's such a crazy, outlandish concept. Why not have fun with it and make one more movie? But anyway, so Kevin, if you're out there listening, I would very much love to see one more shot at Howard the Duck. Do it right. Look, it's got to be better than what George Lucas gave us back in 1980, whatever. What year that came out? 1986. Yeah. 86.
Yeah.
Terrible movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you all for watching. Congratulations to Gatekeeper Drew for winning for the second time $25 in free movie tickets.
I told him on Twitter and he already hearted it.
Yeah. I may as well send him a gift certificate while I'm sitting in this bottle of bourbon that's been sitting on top of my desk for like the last 3 months that I've been meaning to send to him. But thank you all for coming in. Yeah, a lot of people were in here. Schleppy popped in towards the end. Schleppy, The Room is not the best movie ever made. You, sir, need to stop smoking crack.
Hey,
JCS Foot Rub
I'm with you.
JCS Foot Rub was in here. Bullsy was in here towards the end. Chris Skywalker is in the chat. I hope you guys have all subscribed and liked the video. That would help us out a lot. Now, Gatekeeper Drew was in here at some point earlier in the show. Nightwatch Zone popped in for a few minutes. Go check out his channel. Link is in the description down below. Michael Clow was in here for a while. We like Michael. Yeah, we like Michael in the community. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with us. And we will see you guys on Monday for episode 3.